最近おじいちゃんいるから違うけど久しぶりにバイブスあげてこう嬉しそうできるスイカ
How's it going, y'all, and welcome to Castaway Anime, your favorite anime podcast. As always, I'm Nyan Manta.
And I'm Crunchybagels.
And we're very glad that y'all joined us on this episode number 104 of the podcast. Today's Catch of the Day features my adventures with Superman and the game Castaway. So stay tuned for all that, and as always, if you enjoyed the podcast and want to hear more of our objectively correct takes, registered trademark, then be sure to subscribe to the channel here on YouTube or follow us wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. Castaway Anime. Crunchy, how the hell are you?
So I have a story. I have a story to regale you because this morning I was asleep and in my dream I woke up and I was like, oh, I woke up but I didn't wake up to my alarm, so I check my phone and it says 8 o'clock and I'm here just ecstatic because I get to sleep 2 more hours because I know that my alarm is set to go off at 10:15. And then my real alarm goes off, cutting off the dream, and it's 10:15. Now, listen, when you're asleep, time is weird. So I'm not sure how comical the timing really was, but when I woke up, I was so confused, because I was like, holy shit, it's supposed to be 8. Why is my alarm going off? And then I check the time, and I'm like, oh, that was a dream.
And then you became instantly sadder.
I have had 5 hours of sleep, which is actually more than I expected, but I'm also probably going to be staying up most of the night, if not all of it tonight. So, we're winning out here. Are you winning, son? No.
Judging by the Decompression Chamber podcast, probably not.
No, not really. You want to know the worst part? Yesterday wasn't even that productive. And you want to know why? Alright, so I feel like I should introduce this a bit more naturally. I've been working on this video that's like probably going to be 2 hours long. And it's been hanging over my head for like 5 months at this point. I just need it out. I need it out as soon as possible. So I'm working on it. So, last time in Crunchybagels news, I put a bunch of blankets on my wall in order to get better acoustics in my bedroom so that I can record higher quality audio. Because I hate recording in my car. Well, I like recording in my car because it's private. I hate how it sounds. And so I'm like, okay, I'll make it slightly less comfortable to record on the condition that I get better audio. And so, I do that. Problem. I am not used to recording in here. Especially not with blankets on the walls like this. I mean, I'm used to talking into the mic for a podcast, but I'm not the one double-checking the audio. You're the one cleaning up whatever mess I leave in the audio recording. So I haven't had to think about it. And so the first time I record in here, right, I record I think it was just chapter 4 of the video. And I double layer my pop filters, put them both right on top of each other, get real close to the mic, turn down the gain so that it's just my voice, and I speak for like 30 minutes. And yesterday morning, I finally check back on the audio. And, well, first I download Audition. Because I'm like, okay, I can do it better there, I think. Probably, people tell me. And so I do that whole shabam. It actually takes me a bit because Windows Defender keeps cucking me. It keeps thinking Gen P is a virus. And so each time I download the RAR file,
you mean Minecraft is a virus?
But Penji. I pronounced it wrong. It was a glitch.
So we would never do anything illegal with Adobe products, and definitely not talk about it on the last episode.
Look, I'm tired. I don't know how to pronounce my words correctly anymore. By Gen P, what I really meant was Minecraft.
Honest mistake. It happens to the best of us.
So, I download Minecraft, but the Minecraft Java edition isn't in the RAR file, no matter how many times I download it. I eventually just turn off Windows Defender to download the goddamn file, and then I played Minecraft for a bit. Problem. Audition is alien to me. Another problem. The audio came out strangely muffled, and I thought I could maybe rectify that in Audition, but after messing around in Audition and Audacity, both of them came out muffled, and worse than how it sounds in my car. So I'm like, what the fuck? And so I re-record Chapter 4 and 5, because I'm like confident I figured out the issue. I think it's that I doubled up on the pop filters, and that my voice just can't get through it well enough. So I record the audio again. Problem! Problem number 2! In this recording, I was way too close to my mic, and furthermore, I'm basically screaming into it. This is an issue I've had, or for a while I didn't know if it was an issue, but yesterday I decided this is an issue, which is that over time, my commentaries that I record have gotten louder and louder. And for a long time, I haven't recorded them at speaking volume, more like the volume you would use to announce to a crowd when you're on stage. And so, because most YouTubers probably just talk like slightly louder than normal speaking volume. I'm like probably double that by the time we get to yesterday's recording. And I'm really close to the mic. Luckily, I had the gain down low so it didn't peak. However, it had a bit of a plosives constantly. And so
Crunchybagels and audio issues. Name a more iconic duo.
Exactly. And so at around 1 a.m., like I'm checking back on the audio file because I'd taken a break to pick my dad up from work and then watch my Adventures with Superman, the last 2 episodes. And then I go back to the audio file. And at first I'm like, well, maybe there was a part of the recording where I backed away from my mic a little bit and maybe it's not salvageable. I thought it might be. It's not salvageable. And I'm like, I'm punished. Crunchy is at his lowest point. I don't care anymore. I'm recording audio at 2 a.m. while everyone else in my house is asleep. I take out my AC unit. I, close the closet door, get my mic set up. I turn away from the wall I usually record towards. So away from my computer desk because my brother is sleeping on the other side of that wall. So I'm speaking towards the blanket-covered windows. The blanket and curtain-covered windows. I went very far in my efforts to reduce
Did
the
that
echo
one
in my
box come in yet?
It hasn't come in yet. It was supposed to come in at 10 p.m. yesterday, but Amazon is late with my package.
Ooh.
And so it could have come in handy yesterday. And so or I guess technically today, because it was so goddamn late. But I record it, and this time, because people are sleeping and because I'm tired, I'm recording basically like slightly above speaking volume, but I really have to force it because I'm tired and don't want to speak at all. And also I've been recording for an hour and a half that day already. So I get the audio, paranoid that someone's going to overhear me, especially because this is conveniently the most embarrassing chapter for anyone to overhear me reading. You'll know when it comes out. There's some weird shit going on in this chapter.
The history
Some
of gay sex
inexplicable shit.
presented in Nyan, Neko, Sugar Girls.
Exactly. Honestly, it's like only slightly less embarrassing than that. Some of it.
Crunchy, has it ever occurred to you that instead of recording at least a half hour's worth of audio and then not checking it, wouldn't it be a lot easier to record like 5 minutes of your script, then listen back to it to make sure that's not borked?
So see, I did not 5 minutes, but I would do audio tests each time I record. And these issues just don't present themselves. Probably because, once again, I'm not doing the 5 minutes test. I'm not doing it thoroughly enough. And so I, record for a minute, like maybe 3 times or whatever, changing the parameters just slightly each time to get the audio slightly better. And then, I'd get a minute of good audio and be like, oh, okay, it works. And then it wouldn't work. And especially because And the thing is, I've done plosive tests before. Like, a lot of the time when I record in my car, I go, and just see what would come through the mic.
Oh, so how
but
far
I
away
had
do you usually
neglected-
talk into your mic?
In the car, I would record much further away than I do inside. Well, for the podcast, I don't care. I just sit wherever is comfortable. But in the car, I would go pretty far away because I could get away with it. Because it's a car, the sound isn't going to travel. There's no blankets to drown out the sound. Or I guess, not really drowning them out, but, you know, the sound goes to
dampen
die
them?
in soft material. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a better word. And so, I could get away with being a bit further away from my mic, and so generally, I wouldn't have issues with plosives. But because I'm inside, and because if I go far away it will sound muffled, I'm getting as close as I can reasonably get away with to my mic. Another issue is that I just had my pop filter set really poorly, because I was fucking around with it when I doubled up on them, and then just didn't adjust it properly. And so I should have it, like, I had it really close to the mic for some reason instead of to my mouth. And I was like, why did I do that? It should be closer to my mouth so that it can actually get rid of the P sounds and the B sounds. Or I guess not really the sounds, but the wind that comes with it. But anyway, I get this final audio recording at speaking volume without the plosives, and I listen back, and you know what? Like, there's a few, I wouldn't even call them plosives. They're like, I guess micro plosives, where you can hear just a hint of the wind brushing up against the mic. And I'm like, you know what? It's fine. It's fine. It's good enough. I'm
It's
not
a 2-hour
re-recording this.
video. Honestly, you could probably just take that into Audition. I go to the part of the waveform where that happens, and just like the mic take that one little like spike that could be caused by it, and just like tone it down a little.
It's honestly not even like a spike. It's like just, it's more in the quality of the sound when it happens, and it's very occasionally throughout the track. I was editing it on Audacity because honestly, I can't be fucked to learn Audition right now. Maybe next video, but after messing around with it for an hour or two, probably not 2 hours. Probably
It's
just an hour,
definitely
hour and a half.
not a very intuitive thing to just learn off the cuff. Like when I
was going off of a YouTube
I only learned
tutorial
Audition when I was in
still-
college.
Some even when I was messing with the audio that had a bunch of plosives, you know, I put all my filters, all my presets on Audacity, and then I put on all the new stuff from Audition. It just sounded better on Audacity. And I was like, okay, clearly I messed something up, but also, goddamn, it'll take way too long to figure out what I messed up. And so I don't have the time. And also, it sounds good on
I
Audacity.
may be stupid. You can put that. You can quote that. But are you able to record on 2 different software at once? Like, could you hypothetically hit the record button on Audacity and Audition and just use the same track in 2 different softwares?
You know, there's probably a way to do that, but the way a lot of, I don't know actually, because it might be that the software wants to hog the mic for itself, like Sony Vegas wants to do that, but Audacity, you know, clearly, because considering it's letting it go through on Discord as well, Audacity isn't like that, so I don't actually know.
Because that could be a
I guess I'd have
solution
to
you could
fiddle with
try.
it. After the Nyan Neko Sugar Girls video, though, for sure. And so, I listened back to the audio, but the thing is, alright, here's the part where it's all worth it. Because when you're listening to the track itself, like while you're just compiling it together, you know, you don't really get a sense of like just how much better it is from where you usually have your audio. I mean, obviously you do the surface level test, but by the point, by the time I've already recorded everything, I don't even want to do comparisons. I'm like, I have it. It doesn't have plosives. I'm just happy it doesn't have plosives. I'm gonna use it no matter what. But at the end, you know, I've compiled everything together, and it's finished. I'm ready to start recording the actual video part of the chapter now. But right before bed, I do one last audio comparison. And it's so much better. The car sounds like muffled by comparison because I'm further away from the mic. You hear audio will fill the space that it is recorded in, and you can hear the car when I record when I record in it, obviously. Especially with the AT4040, which is higher quality. The Yeti was bad enough that, recording in the car wasn't a big deal because it was too shit to pick up the car sound. But on the AT4040 especially, you hear that I'm recording in a car. And you hear the slight reverb. It's not like an echoey, place. That's the point of recording in a car. But it's like, it's bouncing off the windows and the hard surfaces in the car, and you can tell. Then you go to the audio in the bedroom, and it's like crystal clear and punchy and smooth. And I'm like, this is the solution I was looking for. All I need to do now is get that thing to come in through Amazon, and then find a pop filter solution that is 100% effective for me.
You could probably find one on Amazon that if you just look up AT4040 pop filters, or even just Google
I actually literally
see,
did that and ordered one.
Nice.
So
what I was gonna say is shit. What was I gonna say? Fuck. Damn, it lost me because
he's lost it. He's lost the plot.
I remember thinking about pop covers. You recording the thing. Have you what? Oh, I remember now. What presets do you use in like Audacity to EQ the audio afterward?
I just use the filter curve, and it goes up at the bass part and then the treble part to make it louder and more punchy. And then I also have this one's an Audacity preset where it's low roll off for voiceover, and what it does is it cuts off all the bass under where the human voice is, where it's like human voice literally, I'm not sure if it's like physically impossible for the human voice to get in this range. I would assume so, except for some genetic freak. Obviously I have a pretty high voice for a guy, so I just use the low roll off for speech. It cuts off all bass before the part where the human voice is, and then just goes on from there. And so that's the EQing I do. It makes it sound really nice and clear. Then let's see. I normalize it. Before I wouldn't normalize it because I recorded pretty loudly with the gain set fairly high. I've set my gain lower over time just because I know that gets it. It's better that way. It gets less, computer fan noise or background noise or whatever. And I'm pretty close to my mic anyway. So I normalize it, I compress it, and then I limit it. And limiter especially, you kind of need it to get it at the volume that most YouTube videos are at. And so I have like a range of volume that I kind of want to hit.
Does Audacity have a de-reverb function?
Probably, but I also...
Wait, do you use one in Audacity, right?
No, I don't use a de-reverb.
Oh. That sounds like it would solve your problem.
I mean, the thing is, I'm always a little dicey with filters like that, because I know you use like a noise gate on my audio, right? And that's like supposed to, back in the day, cut out the echo. Now I'm just in a good recording space. But I also know that sometimes the noise gate sometimes would cut off my voice when it would get quiet, at least for a while. And so, I don't know, I'm just always dicey about filters like that. But I guess I could try it out. But I also just don't have reverb anymore.
That does remind me, I should probably re-edit your Audition preset on my computer to match your new mic setup. But yeah, when I use a de-reverb on mine because I don't have any audio dampening in here. All I've got is a pop filter directly in front of my Shure. But otherwise, I'm recording in like pretty much. You've seen where I record. I've sent pictures. I'm like pretty much in the corner of my room. It looks basically like
my bedroom. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in the corner of my room. I've got nothing up on the walls. Like I'm so close to the corner of my bedroom that I'm sure, even though I I'm talking away from the corner, like in the a 90-degree angle away from it. Uh, or no, more like a 45-degree angle away from it. I'm still like facing a wall, and I'm sure there's gonna be some audio that's like bouncing back, but I plug that shit into a D-reverb. I get it to like just the right balance, so it still sounds clean without it sounding like I'm making my audio sound more muffled. Because like if you crank it up too high, then you're gonna muffle your voice. But if you apply like, I think I've set mine to anywhere between like 5 to 10%, and then I just fiddle around with other EQ settings to get my voice a little clearer and louder. And it sounds good. Like every time you hear me on the podcast, that's the preset at work.
I could try that, but I'm also in a space that doesn't have reverb for the most part now, and I'd rather have it just not through a plugin like that, because I've tried some of the like, sometimes even the noise removal or the de-esser, like sometimes those will muffle the audio in Audacity, and I'm like, fuck, I have it too high or whatever, and you have to fiddle with the settings. I'm just not always
low
comfortable
key,
with
like
using.
record like a 10-minute segment of your script, send it to me, and I'll see if I can like make a preset in Audition to make it sound good.
That could work potentially, but then I record a lot of redos and record everything in separate things, and
Well,
feel like
I
you
know
get
if
pretty-
if you're like me, you will do recording, but then if you like have too big of an error, you'll like stop your Audacity recording, cut out the error part, and then resume the recording.
Oh no, I don't do that.
Oh well,
I literally
I do.
I do one continuous take and leave in all the errors, no matter how big, and then all at once I take them all out. It's easier like that for me.
It
Because
it's hard.
back when I was
The
13,
the only way I would be able to do that is if I like physically wrote down all of the times where I would have to remember. Okay, I have to take out a part here, because sometimes I'll mess up and then I'll need to like retrain my voice to get into like a good script reading mode, or if I like just recalibrate my voice, like do like little vocal exercises. So I just like pause the recording, then take out the error part. Then when I have like the quote final cut, then I just take it into Audition, cut out all of like the in between parts, and then edit it together to make it sound more seamless.
well, see, the thing is, I mean, like you were saying with cutting out the in-between parts, uh, the reason why I couldn't do that, because there was, while I was looking for these audition tutorials, someone had this idea where they used like a little clicker that you use for training dogs. It makes a very specific waveform, and she would click that every time she made an error in her voiceover, so that she would know what to cut out. Because she does like audiobooks and stuff, she's really good at this.
That is
And I was
smart.
like, I was like blown away. That's super clever. But then I thought about it, and I was like, but that's
Why-
for
why-
audiobooks.
Yeah, why
And
use a clicker when I could just scream racial profanities into the microphone and then see a giant solid waveform block and know when the errors are?
But see, also a clever idea. But the reason why that wouldn't work for me is because when you're recording an audiobook, you leave in the breaths. It's supposed to feel like a live reading, like someone is reading the story to you. But on YouTube, you're more like, hey guys, today we're going to be doing a $10 million challenge. Well, last to leave in this tank of sharks, last one alive in this tank of sharks gets $10,000. Stuff like that. I have this giant space laser pointed towards Earth. Last person alive gets $1 million.
First person to punch in the deactivation code.
And so I cut out all my breaths. I hate leaving in breaths. I mute them, cut them together. It's seamless. And there's like barely any room between my sentences. But, with audiobooks, you don't do that. It's slower paced. If you read a story like that, it would be unbearable. But, once it's a YouTube video about Nyan, Neko, Sugar Girls, it's fine to edit like that. And so, yeah, I kind of have to go through anyway, because every single sentence, every single breath I take, I mute, cut out most of this. Oh god, I burped because I'm drinking. I live on energy drinks right now. But I cut out, most of the silence, and so it doesn't really save time to do the clicking thing. It does for her, but it doesn't work like that for me, at least with how I do things. And I was gonna say something else, but then I forgore.
But then I burped and now I forgore.
Yeah, it is. With that, my idea was lost to the wind.
Well, it sounds like TLDR. You will never escape the clutches of the audio issues.
You know what? I granted, I may regret saying this. I think I'm 90% through them, and I think I've already got the equipment that will probably, emphasis on probably, stop them. Because what the pop filter I got for the AT4040 was like that little thing, that the cover over the mic. So, the double pop filters I was using before are like the ones with the little gooseneck that you put in front of it, and that's why it was muffled. But I think with just the one that sort of covers the microphone, it won't be as muffled. Also, this one is like made of, that light foamy material that sound gets through really easily. So I think I'm good on that front. I have the little box that I'm going to put my mic in that should hopefully be coming today. It was supposed to come yesterday, but, if it's only a day late, I'll be fine with it. Just get it here.
Well, so...
I actually just checked my email. They're saying it'll come this evening instead of last evening.
So, moral of the story, never become a YouTuber, kids.
Yeah, you'll... as soon as you start this job, you'll all of a sudden just gain, you'll be thinking, you'll be driving by the school and look at all the school children, on their merry way. And all of a sudden, you'll feel these feelings rising in your chest you've never felt before. And then you'll commit a horrible crime and get canceled on Twitter.
Like a werewolf, you'll feel the urges rise and you'll transform into the light of a full moon.
Look, every time you upload a video, it's like it begins coursing through your veins, and then you just can't control the urges, man. God, YouTube was a mistake. I remember when I was a young lad. When I was a young lad, I
had ambitions, I had aspirations.
No, I respected YouTubers, and now I don't. Especially because I'm getting to the point where some of them are younger than me. Okay, it was this weird transition.
Is this boomer Crunchy coming out being like, I can't stand people who are younger and more successful than I am?
Not quite, but it's a surreal feeling because I just got it so ingrained in my head when I was like a young kid. YouTubers are old as shit compared to me. And then all those dream
that's because you're 14
when
you're watching it
yeah,
first.
obviously. But then, the dream guys came in and it's like, oh, okay, some of these guys are only a year older than me or the same age as me. And now I've been getting into this YouTuber named Lotta Luck. He is basically storytime animation if it was good. He has a very specific personality, is living proof that self-deprecation humor is not funny and that actually you should pretend to be a narcissist. Because that is his shtick. He acts like a psychotic narcissist as a joke. But it's hilarious because he plays it well. Turns out he's actually kind of like that. I caught 10 minutes of a stream and he acted exactly like he did in his videos, even though I thought it was a character. So probably a dick in real life. But in one of his videos, he makes great content still. I don't care that he's a complete asshole. I love his videos. But I caught, in his newest video, which came out before I threw my life away to the video, It was called I Hate Your Comments. And he was funnily enough talking about someone saying like, or no, it was a bunch of people rather, a compilation of comments saying like, please don't do anything weird to kids. I like your content too much. And it was like, you know what? I'm only 19, but I hope something comes out about me just so I can stop getting these comments. And I'm like, this guy's 19? He's younger than me. I thought he was like 25.
Yeah, like, Shay Frillis is like just about my age. I think we're maybe like a month or two apart, but like, it does put into perspective, like sometimes, like, man, when I was watching him when I was in college, like he was like at college at the same time, and I like I could have made a Shrek video or a Megamind video. I could be where he is right now.
I too could animate a weird wooden puppet with shaggy hair in Blender and scream about how I love shoplifting. Because yes, he I'm telling you, he's so funny. Waddle, I rate that channel so highly. But that's what happened in the Crunchy Corner this week. No media consumption, except for weird, esoteric, old digi videos that I have on in the background while editing, where he talks sad boy stuff over sad anime screenshots, or sometimes mostly peaceful anime screenshots, come to think of it, over like weird chill music, and just rants about life for an hour. Yeah, podcasts are dead to me. I can only listen to Digi and my own podcast.
I mean, we are the best anime podcast.
We
that is not up
literally
for
are.
debate.
Objectively.
Even though we're not going to talk about any anime today.
Look, we hold anime in our hearts, and that's what matters.
Yeah, I mean, how mad would people be if we like pulled an Avatar and we're like, oh, My Adventures with Superman is totally an anime.
That would be.
I mean, it'd be very
Oh,
disingenuous because I want to like rip the heart out of a motherfucker who says Avatar is an anime.
Yeah, I mean, even the argument for Avatar made more sense than it would with Maz. Like, at least it bears stylistic similarity. I mean, granted, Maz also bears some, but far less. And also, at least you could say, like, oh, but Avatar, it was animated by, I don't even know. It was like some East Asian country, but I forget where exactly most of the show was animated. So,
I forget too.
So not even in Japan, if I remember correctly.
No,
I would have
not
remembered if it
Japan.
was mostly animated in Japan.
Definitely not Japan.
But it's at least within the proximity of Japan, so it's anime. And hey, to be fair, most anime isn't. A lot of it is outsourced to China nowadays, or the Philippines. So, you know, it is what it is.
Is it also outsourced to Korea?
Yeah.
Well, as far as media consumption on my end goes, it's because it's only been a week. It's been pretty light, although pretty dense at the same time. Because by continuing the Neon Manta's girlfriend makes him watch all of the Harry Potter movies to get ready for Universal. We watched Goblet of Fire, which I know you have a beef with the book for being the part where you is that where you dropped Harry Potter?
So I dropped it at Order of the Phoenix, but the only reason I would not have gotten through Goblet of Fire just on its strengths alone. Okay, so the reason why I started Harry Potter to begin with was because I was writing my novel and I needed some kind of input. So I was, feeling in the mood to revisit that series because it'd been a while, and I was like, okay, I'm doing this. And for the first few books, I would read them in a few days. For some reason, I was just really obsessed with it for a span of about a couple weeks. And so I got through those 3 books quickly. And then I got to Goblet of Fire. It slowed down dramatically. I probably spent longer reading that book than I did all the 3 prior books before it. Probably double the amount of time. And yeah, it's long, it's boring, and I only read like a chapter or two of it each time before I wrote as input so that I could just get the creative gears turning. But otherwise, I was like, it's not bad. It's just not good either. And so it's really boring because it's way longer than it needs to be. If it was like half the length, it would be fine. But it's not. It's so, well, it wouldn't be fine because there's so many, that the ending is so dumb. But but it would be infinitely more tolerable.
Watching the movie, it was definitely the most tonally inconsistent of the movies I had seen so far. Also the most hand wavy, because
Oh
so,
boy.
like, the first strike against the movie for me, which is a big slap in the face, was we get a Quidditch scene in every movie so far. And you know, I can understand that if one of the story's narratives just straight up doesn't have Quidditch at all, then you know, fine, because we're probably at this stage of the narrative, we're moving into the big, like, serious plot now. We got less time for fun and games. But the movie opens with Harry, Ron, Hermione, and Ron's family going to the Quidditch World Cup for like all the Quidditch countries all around the Wizarding world, and they're introducing all of like the international teams and you know Victor Crumb and whatnot. And so I was thinking, oh man, are we gonna see like high level Quidditch play? Are we gonna in a creative Quidditch international sports environment? This is probably gonna be like really fun. Maybe like a different insight on how Quidditch works in different parts of the Wizarding world. Nope, not in the movie. They go, let the games begin. The game starts and then it cuts to the Weasley family tent, being like, oh wow, that was such a crazy game. And I was like, what the fuck, dude? I felt cucked.
See, the thing, when you described that, it's just such a weird decision because the thing about this Quidditch game is that in the book, not Ron, Fred and George Weasley, rather, they bet with, oh god, what was his name? I'm blanking. Barty Crouch? No, not Crouch, he's the other guy. Ludo Bagman.
Who the
And
fuck
they
is
make a
Ludo
bet.
Bagman?
He is a very, very side character in the fourth novel who does not do a whole lot.
I don't even think he was in that movie. If he was, I have no idea who he is.
So in the book, Fred and George make a bet with Ludo Bagman that one of the team, I forget which team is which, but they bet that one of the teams would win, but that they would not catch the snitch. And that exactly happened. And like, as soon as they make the bet, you know it's gonna happen because it's too funny not to happen. And because Ludo Bagman hears that bet and is like, there's no way that happens. That's like a 1 in 100 chance. I'm getting paid. And they bet all their money on this bet. And then they win. And then Bagman, he's like out of money, and so he keeps on putting off paying them, and it's like a running thing throughout the story. Granted, the fact that it's a reoccurring plot line is kind of stupid because it doesn't mean anything. But that was like a funny way to get this game introduced. You know, it brought a little bit of life into my dying soul when we're like 150 pages into this novel and nothing has happened so far. But
wait,
you know,
the Quidditch World
seems...
Cup happens 150 pages into the book.
Oh yeah. It's
Quidditch
real
World Cup
bad.
thing happens like 5 to 8 minutes into the movie.
Oh, that's how it should have happened. That's literally nothing happens before the Quidditch World Cup. I'm so mad that the books start out this way. Where, okay, so books. They have this infuriating tendency when we're multiple books into a series to recap what happens in the prior books. Because back in the day, it was apparently common fare to, you know, have books lying around in like the waiting room of a doctor's office or whatever, and you pick up a random book in a series and you need to get to know the characters. Even though if you're in the hospital, you're not going to be reading for long, and you probably don't care if you don't know all the details. So it's so pointless to have this. But they've spent like an entire... Okay, so the way the Goblet of Fire
We're
decides
so
to do
impassioned
this.
about this.
Yes, because I had to read 150 pages of nothing happening. And so the way they do that is that Harry starts writing, or he considers writing a letter to all his friends, and he thinks in his head, if I sent this letter to this friend, they would respond like this, and if I sent it to that friend, they'd respond like that. I don't care! That's not even necessary to set up because we'll see them later, and you'll get to know their personality then. That entire chapter meant nothing. And then we get to see a bunch of time of, Dursley's on, not Dursley, Dudley Dursley is on a diet. Oh, who cares? I don't care that he's on a diet.
Dudley is the Harry's like cousin, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, they're not even fucking in the
shit.
movie. They're not even
Good.
in Goblet of Fire.
Literally good. Because it doesn't matter. This book should have started with Harry getting taken away by the Weasleys, being like, hey, we're gonna take you to this World Cup or whatever. Or at most, well, I mean, it starts off with the flashback. Not even really a flashback. It's happening concurrently with the beginning of the book, but it's just, wait, did that even happen in the movie?
What happened in the movie?
The bit where the old man stumbles onto Voldemort and he's like...
that's how the movie opens.
Yeah, and so we have that. That, I guess, is, necessary. So you start with that. Then you get to the point where Harry, has the dream, skip all the letter bullshit, have him send it to Sirius, and then, he goes down to the kitchen table and he's like, well, it's finally time for me to leave for the Quidditch Cup. And then the Weasleys come soon after. Literally, because the book for some reason includes Harry having to ask, can I please go to the Quidditch Cup? And then it takes multiple chapters for this to transpire, where literally we don't need to see him ask. We just need to get to the point where he gets to the Quidditch Cup. And then we spend more chapters of slice of life at the Weasleys. I don't care. Literally cut that out.
The way that you're so impassioned about this makes me think, and I don't mean to give you more video ideas, but it sounds like you would have a lot of fun going through the books versus the movies and actually picking apart what would make one stronger and one weaker in different aspects.
Yeah, that would be fun, but also I think everyone's beaten me to it. Probably.
Yeah, probably.
I feel like that well is mined, just completely, it's dry. It's dried
hypothetically,
up.
You could just do it again because maybe it's been long enough and no one gives a shit that you'll get the recency bias.
Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely not worth it though, even though it would be fun. I would have fun just going through this
Harry
opening.
Potter.
I would have fun just going through this opening and cutting out every extraneous detail that pissed me off when I had to read about it.
It sounds like you would like the movie a whole lot more then, because it just goes opening with the old man walking in on Voldemort and gang, and then title, then the Quidditch Cup.
Sounds like a way better introduction, honestly.
Yeah, the only shit part about it is that because they cut out the actual scene of the Quidditch game, and cut out any propensity for action. The first bit of action that happens in the movie, or drama or stakes, is when the Wizard KKK shows up, and then it feels like tonal whiplash because we were just coming off of oh wow, that was such an awesome Quidditch game, all the fireworks and the lights and whatnot, that was so cool, and then oh wait, terrorism suddenly.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that would piss me off in the movie, just because I don't mind tonal whiplash as much as you, I think.
Well,
but
I think what made it doubly worse is that when then after that, they're talking about, they introduced the Death Eaters and their whole shtick, but then we just go back to Hogwarts and everything's pretty much hunky dory. No one is traumatized by fucking getting attacked by wizard terrorists, which is more damning because literally a key point of the last movie is Harry is traumatized by getting attacked by Dementors.
Yeah, I could see that happening. I don't remember having that issue with the books, but granted, those also have a lot more, many more words that they spend.
Yeah, maybe it's more like in a book,
things.
it's more kind of excusable because you can like write, you can use prose and whatnot to like use words to paint the mood, whereas with a movie you have to rely on score, performances, direction.
Yeah.
And to go from exciting Quidditch like big sport field to a scary terrorism attack where people are dying, everything is on fire, people are screaming, and then the fallout of that, then going back to oh hey, we're going back to like year 4 of wizarding school, guys. Are you excited? Guys, the Triwizard Tournament's coming up.
Yeah, so what I mean, we've already spent a while, so let's get to the big fish to fry in terms of this movie being well, I'm not sure what you rated it, so go forward.
I gave this one
on.
a 6 out of 10. It
Okay,
of the 4
makes
movies
sense.
I've seen so far, it is the third best / second worst.
Okay, elaborate.
Well, okay, so far my order goes Azkaban, Chamber of Secrets, Goblet of Fire, Sorcerer's Stone.
Yeah. That's what I figured.
So the tonal inconsistencies are like a big issue for me. It also, the movie feels very hand wavy at points where it's like the whole Triwizard Tournament thing. It seems I don't get what like the stakes are, because it says people die in it, but then they also treat it like it's a big sporting event. So like I kind of, it makes me like wonder where the priorities lie in the wizarding world, where how come it's like it's a scary thing when in Chamber of Secrets Harry was getting like chased by the cursed wrecking ball thing that almost like broke his head open like a skull, and like that we had to take that super seriously, but then Harry could be fucking killed by a dragon then and be like, well, that's just how the tournament be sometimes.
So this is that was not an issue in the books, and this is a movie exclusive issue, because in the books that's actually not really a plot point, but like a point that they do address, where the idea is that the Triwizard Tournament has not been going on at Hogwarts because the headmasters are like, look, it's too dangerous, this is barbaric, we aren't gonna kill these kids so early on. And so in the new Triwizard Tournament, in the books, there's like emphasis on how, even though it looks really dangerous, and like there's even a point where Harry in the second trial thinks that, oh, if I don't save these people, they're going to die. But then he, thinks about it later and he's like, oh, wait, this was all under control the entire time. Like, it's fine. I was just being paranoid. Because, yeah, it's like, it's a thing where, Dumbledore ain't gonna let anyone die on his watch. Except for
the fucking dragon that he was so far away from. The dragon escapes its bindings, flies out of the arena, so no one could see it. So Harry was literally just by himself. And unless Dumbledore has the power to fucking cast a spell miles away, then yeah, Harry could have just as easily died.
So you say escapes the bindings. So it is bound and it is not supposed to escape those bindings in the movie.
That's what I figured. Like, we never see. This is another point of the movie that I'm very upset with. We only ever see Harry in the doing his thing in the Triwizard Tournament. With the exception of the underwater mermaid thing and the hedge maze, kind of, where we're focused on Harry's perspective, but we only get like glimpses of like how Victor and the girl and Cedric are doing their challenges. Whereas like the dragon thing, when they do it, it's completely off screen, so we don't get a sense of like how talented they are. That's a big failing of the movie too, because now that's 2 opportunities for a character like Victor Crumb, who it would have been great to set him up as like how good he and skilled he'd be in the Triwizard Tournament by showing off his Quidditch skills in the World Cup, and maybe like show him acing the dragon test in the tournament. Oh, since we don't see either of them, I don't know how good he's supposed to be. And the same goes for Cedric and the girl wizard.
So there's a lot to unpack in what you just said, comparing it to the books, because first of all, the books always showed you what the other contestants were doing in the competition.
What the
whenever
fuck?
it could get away with it.
So did they show Cedric, Crumb, and the girl wizard attempt with the dragons?
Yes.
Cucked again.
And secondly, you were saying that like the dragon was escaping its bindings, and there was, you got the sense that this
because
it
it was in chains. It was purposely placed in this arena. Like it was close enough to the vicinity of the eggs, so that way if you tried to get close to the eggs, it could like fuck you up, but it wouldn't be able to leave the confines of the arena. Because if it could, it'd probably like fucking torch the audience or some shit like that. Or you would just have a rampaging dragon.
So in the book, there was never the sense that anything went awry at any point during the dragon. And in fact, I don't remember there being any chains, with the implication being that like, the dragon is...
Was there never a point where Harry flew away from the arena and then he was like fighting the dragon on top of like a building? Like a castle? On the top of a castle?
No. Not
okay, well,
in the
I guess that's
slightest.
movie
He
original
stayed-
then.
He flew around the arena, but there was never any sense... I don't even think the dragon was like... it wasn't flying around like crazy. It was never out of control. It just stayed... It really wanted to protect what was in the egg, and so it just stayed near the egg. And that's why it never... nothing ever happened. Nothing crazy went awry. And so it's just like, when I hear that, I'm like, oh yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, so like I could never get a grasp of like what the stakes actually were, and if like Dumbledore's been very protective of Harry this whole like even in this movie he's doing things like help guide Harry on the right path, but even then like it seems like he's fine with like the running the risk that Harry might die in the tournament, because like he is like upset that Harry's name was somehow put into the Goblet of Fire and chosen. Did you put your name into the Goblet of Fire?
Dumbledore said calmly.
Yeah, not in the movie. Yeah, so that was the whole thing. Also I like the Mad-Eye Moody is one of the best characters in all of Harry Potter. He's a big show stealer.
Uh-oh, Mad-Eye Moody.
What?
He's one of the best characters in Harry Potter. That ain't Mad-Eye Moody.
Well, I know that at the end. Okay, I was asking my girlfriend this because this was I know there is in fact an imposter among us. I was asking my girlfriend because the movie at no point gives an indication that he was like leading Harry astray. Like you only get that at the end of the movie when after the whole scene with Voldemort, and then Cedric dies and Moody takes him back to his chamber and like starts questioning Harry about Voldemort, and then accidentally lets slip that he's not actually Moody but Barty Crouch Jr. that he was in fact David Tennant Doctor Who the whole time. Which I Leonardo DiCaprio pointed at the screen and be like, oh my god, I didn't know David Tennant was in Harry Potter. But yeah, I was under the impression that Mad-Eye Moody was him like the majority of the movie until like very recently up to the end of it, when he must have gotten like taken out by Barty Crouch Jr. and then replaced him with the Polyjuice potion. Which I then asked my girlfriend, okay, at what point in the movie or the book is it made, do they like point out that he switched places with them? Because I really hope that he was not faking being so charismatic and wonderful as a character.
You sweet summer child. You.
Okay, like, I don't know if the movie does it differently, but like, what happened? Like, at what point did he switch?
So, in the book, there's an incident with Mad Eye Moody that is said at the beginning of the book, and in the moment, this is actually a really interesting anecdote. That Mad Eye Moody like heard some rustling in his trash cans or whatever, and just went crazy firing spells. This was an incident that they had to calm down from the Muggles or whatever, and that's why they call him Mad Eye. They think he's losing his marbles, and when you hear that, you're like, oh, okay. I'm interested in this character.
I thought they called him Mad Eye Moody because he has a fucking weirdo eye,
well,
and he's also kind of,
and also
he's like
mad.
very unhinged.
Yeah, he's mad.
When I thought it was like him the whole time, he straight up turned fucking Draco Malfoy into a ferret, and then had him jump down
Based.
and then he made him jump down another the what were they, Bartley and Crow, or like their what are his goon friends' names?
Crab and Goyle.
Yeah, he makes them go down their pants.
Torture more children. It's based.
Yeah, so at that point I was just like, oh man, this guy is like so fun and charming, and like he's unhinged, and I love him. He has so much personality. So then when the reveal happens at the end of the movie, I got scared, and I was like, no, don't tell me that wasn't all like the real Mad Eye Moody, and like the real Moody is just some fuck.
So in the book, this incident gets retconned. Well, not really a retcon. It probably was, to be fair, because J.K. Rowling definitely did not have this plot planned out.
In this moment, if this is fucking Barty Crouch Jr., why the fuck would he do that? Like, what does he have to gain from doing that, coming to Harry's aid like that?
So, the idea in the book is that this is the moment. Like, it wasn't actually nothing. There was a reason. It was Barty attacking Mad Eye Moody and keeping him locked up and being like, I'm gonna polyjuice potion my way to imposter among using, sussing my way to the top. And so that he's Voldemort's most loyal follower. And so the entire movie, Mad Eye Moody is not Mad Eye Moody. Well, maybe not in the movie, but in the book, it is very much explicit.
I really hope the book changed it so that like he got changed at like a certain point. I mean, so now that I think about it, there was a point where like when they're in their chambers for the first time earlier in the movie, he's like, hey, don't open that chest. Even I don't know how deep it goes. So maybe that is an indication that he was crouched the whole time.
In
but
the books, the only real hint you have is not even really a hint. It's that Mad Eye is trying to help Harry through the all these trials, and the reason why is because he needs to touch the Triwizard Cup, which is a port key, which takes him to Voldemort's domain, and then Voldemort is gonna use that to revive himself, and take Harry down in front of his followers, prove himself to be the best of the best once and for all, and take over the world from there, become Wizard Hitler. The issue is that anything can be a port key. Anything at all can be a port key. Yeah, it literally did not have to be the Triwizard Cup.
I was confused on like why. I assumed they had just placed
no
like
why.
I assumed that he had just like Crouch placed a curse onto the cup because it's like the final challenge and they're gonna be deep within this maze, and I'm already like, because I'm taking the place of Mad Eye Moody, I'm so close to the staff behind the tournament that I'll just like no one is looking, I'll place an enchantment on the cup so that way when Harry who I'm just banking on him being the winner, when he touches it, he'll be transported to Voldemort's domain and get hits with the domain expansion of Avada Kedavra, and then my Lord and Savior Wizard Hitler will finally resurrect.
So it's extremely pointless. He did not need to imposter. I mean, maybe you could justify the imposter among us sussing. it's difficult if this port key worked, which in the books it's made apparent that like you can't apparate into Hogwarts. I can't remember if you can't apparate out of it, but I would assume so. And I would assume that it doesn't really make sense that the port key would work either, because you can't use a port key to get into Hogwarts. Not really sure why you'd be able to use it to
maybe
get out
the
of
Triwizard
Hogwarts,
Cup
but
would be an exception
maybe
because it's a Hogwarts item.
that if that is why, it would need to be explained, because I mean everything in everything in Hogwarts is a Hogwarts item. I mean technically,
Well,
I
like,
mean, unless you
I
mean
mean,
like
like
on
this
the
is like
level of sword
like
of
this is like a super duper
Gryffindor.
snowflake item. Like it was already it was already like magic by itself, wasn't it?
I would assume so.
Because yeah, it's not just some nothing trophy. Like it's got to be like have its own magical properties, I assume.
I mean, if that's the only reason it can be made into a port key to get out of Hogwarts, I feel like that would need to be explained. But in the book, it's just taken for granted that you kind of accept that, oh, it needs to be at this tournament with tons of people watching, with all the staff with their eyes on this maze. And granted, like, you can't see into it very well, but at the same time, it's like, everyone's paying attention. This is the most public way to go about doing this. Why not just, oh, I don't know, make a port key in the middle of the night when when Dumbledore's asleep? That seems like a pretty good idea. He's always sneaking around.
I don't have any problem with like the plan, because like the maze is like it's a magic maze. It's like moving the walls around, so they're probably like by the time that they're gone, everyone who's watching the tournament is probably thinking, they're just still struggling in the maze, eh?
I guess, but it just feels weird that you could do this at any time. You don't really need, because it's so much extra work. It's like you need to be at Hogwarts for a very long time. You need to not get discovered. You need to get Harry through this Triwizard tournament, which isn't even a guarantee. Like, you need to get him specifically to the end of the maze. No one else can get there. There's so many things that can go wrong. Meanwhile, there's no actual canon explanation that is explicit in the book why you can't just port key anything else. Literally anything else. I have a problem with the plan. It seems really fucking dumb. That's the problem with the plan.
Well, see, my problem with the plan is if the whole point was to get Harry Potter, why in God's name would you not only teach him but all of his young wizard friends how to resist the fucking curses? Why would you teach them about the curses and also how to resist shit like Imperius?
So the explanation in the book is that he's just LARPing as Mad-Eye Moody that hard. He just needs to not get found out,
That's
bro.
Stupid. It would make so much more. It would make Crouch and the whole plan seem like less stupid if it just be like, oh, before like the maze part of the tournament, or even during like the underwater part of the tournament, Crouch broke out of Azkaban, got to Moody, took his identity, trapped him in that chest, and then assumed his identity. Then do the rest of the plan, because then it doesn't make you.
Well, you want to know what's
feel
even? You want to know what's even lamer? In future books, Mad-Eye is actually a character, and they just take it for granted that you're already invested in him, even though he was never actually Mad-Eye Moody in the 4th book, and it's just taken for granted that he just acts exactly like Barty acting like him.
In that case, I'm going to, depending on like how exactly different he is, I'm just going to headcanon. Because the movie never, it sounds like the movie nor the book never explicitly states.
No, the book does explicitly state.
Okay, well, at least the movie, I don't think explicitly states when he switched him out. So, I choose to follow the movie canon on this one. Because it sounds like if I follow the book, I'm going to be more pissed off. The only saving grace about this whole thing is that Voldemort is a fucking show stealer.
I do like the climax in just being as grim as it is. Because up until this point...
I was very sad that Cedric died, not because, like, the fact that he died, but because he kind of got punked.
I mean, it's basically instant. Like, as soon as they teleport, he dead. He dead so.
Well, he only dead so because, I think, what was it, Wormtail, was like, hey, you're not, you're not supposed to be with Harry Potter. No one else is supposed to be here. Avada Kedavra, bitch, and he catches him off guard.
Yeah.
It sucks because Cedric is made out to be, who's played by Robert Pattinson in the movie, by the way, which is hilarious. Cedric is made out to be, the top dog at Hogwarts. He's the, if not for Crouch putting in Harry's name in the Triwizard Cup, he would have been, like, the best student of Hogwarts. So, not only do we not get to see him really do anything in the movie outside of, the underwater test, where he does help, Harry, but we don't get to see him show off his skills in the dragon thing, which would have been a great introduction to his character, like, show how he can be, like, calm and cool and collected in the face of, like, danger. He kind of, like, panics and freaks out in the maze, which kind of just makes him out to be a bit of a bitch. And then he gets one-tapped by fucking Wormtail. I don't care if it is by the most overpowered spell in Harry Potter. At least give him, like, make him dodge a couple spells, make him, like, block a couple of the... well, I know Avada Kedavra... Well, see, they say Avada Kedavra is unblockable, but I assume that's only because you... It's not unblockable, though, because you can dodge it, it can hit a wall, and it can miss. You can block it with another spell, so it's not unblockable.
Look, whenever a character casts Avada Kedavra, might as well just be a gun. Bang, bang, I shot you. Bang, get hit by my bullet with my gun.
Yeah, are guns just, like, outlawed in the wizarding world?
It never addressed. Never brought up.
Okay. I only asked because, like,
Avada Kedavra might as well be just a really good gun, so...
It is a very good gun. Because, like, you can survive a gunshot. If Avada Kedavra touches you, instant death. Which is why I was sad that Cedric got punked so easily.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, to me, Cedric just isn't even that much of a character in the books and the movie, so I'm just kind of whatever about his death.
I mean, yeah. I like the little moments that he had with Harry when he was like, he could have been like a hotshot douchebag, but he was actually like really understanding, and he even helps Harry with the egg, taking it into the bath. Shout out to Moaning Myrtle, by the way, for being a straight up degenerate. I think I mentioned this in the last podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he gets punked. That sucks. At least Voldemort's introduction, when his resurrection, I love that he establishes himself immediately as like this overwhelming threat, but he is also like really theatrical about it, because that's like some of my favorite types of villains. I love how he's like, 13 years I've been away, and 13 years my loyal followers have been trying to resurrect me. 13 years too long. If you were truly my loyal followers, you would have like brought me back far sooner. And then when he's like, he at any point he could have just killed Harry immediately with Avada Kedavra, but he wanted to make him eat shit for it. Be like, oh, come on, don't you know how to duel, Harry? It's customary for us to, wands at the ready, we bow to each other as a sign of respect, Harry. And he wants to make him bow to him to respect him. And it's all because when he tried to kill him as a baby, his bullshit love spell counteracted him and killed him instead. So he just wants to like take his sweet time being like a petty bitch. So that was great. Another thing that's bullshit though is that for some reason I know they gave an explanation after the fact, but it's still bullshit. The ghosts of all of the people that Voldemort has slain, including Harry's parents and Cedric, come to distract Voldemort. Why?
Yep. It be like Luigi's mansion up in here.
Yeah, but like, why though?
So the reason why, I mean, do you want the explanation or does the movie explain it properly?
I think Dumbledore offhandedly says something like the blank spell or like the environment that it was in.
Oh, that's so dumb. Wait, they just removed. This ends up being more relevant later on. If they said that, they're either going to have to bring it up really late or not at all and just make a different ending. So the reason why is because Harry and oh wait, actually I forgot. It is actually brought up in the first movie. It isn't said to have this effect.
Oh wait, is it the Phoenix?
They
both have
the
Phoenix
same
wands.
Yeah. It's
Okay,
from the same
so when they
Phoenix.
okay, so when they collide, they're able to summon the ghosts of those that they have slain.
Basically, it's that when these two wands, I don't remember the exact specifics of the explanation, but it's because these two wands share a feather from the same phoenix and have like the same core and whatnot, that they, just weird stuff happens. They sort of have a tendency to tear each other apart, to, make one wand barf up all the past spells it's cast, and the mechanics get more in depth later. I forget to what extent because it's been so long, but basically, like, there is a reason that is more clearly explained in the book, it seems.
All right, so here's my question: if Harry can get all the people that Voldemort is slain, why didn't Voldemort get fucking who was the one dude at the first movie who Voldemort was living on the back of?
Quirrell.
Okay, why didn't he get hit? Why didn't his ghost try to attack Harry?
Hmm. Good question,
Unless it for some
actually.
reason it only works exclusively for Harry.
I mean, maybe he didn't kill Quirrell with a spell?
I mean, he killed
Seems
him.
a bit unlikely. He did kill him. Maybe. I'm trying to think of a reason, but I can't think of one.
It could just be a classic J.K. Rowling plot hole.
She does have a lot of those.
And that brings me to one last point that I have about the movie, which for now, for some reason, is escaping me, which is upsetting me because it was really important. Oh, yeah, okay. About the curses, because I know that some people have an issue with Avada Kedavra being, like, really dumb, because, like, like you said, it should just be a gun. I don't have an issue with it being, like, there existing a spell that will kill you, because, like, if it's one of the big forbidden spells. I actually take more issue with Imperius and the torture curse, cause aren't they the killing curse but worse?
So the Imperius curse is mind control, which you can use to kill someone, albeit slower, but more likely you're going to use them to do something else for you. Make them a minion or something like that. And then the torture curse does not actually kill you. It just causes you endless pain until the curse is lifted.
Okay. Then answer me this then. Why is it that Bartley Crouch Jr. killed Neville's parents with the Crucio curse?
I forget if that was stated as like the same way in the books, but I would imagine it would just be Crucio and then eventually Avada Kedavra.
Okay, because from what I remember, my girlfriend, who is a big Harry Potter fan, was very adamant about this. And we got into an argument about it. She was like, that's why Neville was reacting so sadly when Moody was showing off the torture curse to the spider, because that's how his parents died. Bartley Crouch Jr. Killed his parents using the Crucio curse. And so I was like, why would that curse kill you though? Wouldn't it, like, if it kills you, if you get hit with it long enough, wouldn't that just make the killing curse like kind of more pointless? Because it seems like more evil and forbidden.
If you're in the heat of a battle with a bunch of people, you're gonna use Avada Kedavra because it's more efficient.
I mean, I guess, but also by that same logic, wouldn't you also rather just use the mind control curse to be like, hey, I have you under mind control. Take like a fucking
No, because the Imperious curse can be fought off, and so you run the risk of of using it on someone who can fight it off, and also they'll put up a struggle at first, and you have to like, it could take a bit to take control, and while you're focusing on that, something else could happen. And so Avada Kedavra is the most efficient of the three.
Okay, because it's still like I don't get why conceptually why the Crucio kills you. Because I feel like it would be a lot more fucked up if you could just be constantly put under a spell that puts you in never-ending pain, but does not kill you.
Yeah, I mean, I could be wrong on the Crucio not killing you, but I don't think it does.
I'm pretty sure because they say in the trial of Crouch Jr. in the little flashback thing that Dumbledore has Harry see in the
Wait, also, hold on, Neville's parents aren't dead.
What?
They're in the books, they are said to have completely I'm pretty sure it's that they've just completely lost their minds because of the torture and stuff they've endured. I'm not sure if it's different in the movie, but in the books, like his parents are vegetables.
She was very adamant about this. So let me fact check that. Are Neville's parents dead? Is they're still alive?
I hope I'm not hallucinating that. Maybe it's like some other relative of Neville's that turned into a vegetable. But I know he has someone who was tortured that is in a wizard hospital bed, unresponsive.
Castaway has Dumbledore whether they are dead. Shocking feels that Neville's parents are still alive. Wait a fucking second. Is this in the book or the movie? Okay, Death Eaters, Wizarding War ended. Because of this theory, the Death Eaters subjected Frank and Alice to appalling methods of torture. They tortured the couple using the Crucio curse. The pain would have been unimaginable, but Frank and Alice refused to give the Death Eaters any information about the Order of the Phoenix, a clear indication of the pair's bravery and loyalty. As Neville tells Harry, his parents were tortured for information. They never gave in. Goblet of Fire reveals the consequences of Death Eater's villainous crime. After Harry learns of Frank and Alice's tragic story, he asks Dumbledore whether they are dead. Shockingly, Dumbledore reveals that Neville's parents are still alive in St. Mungo's hospital for magical maladies and injuries. I believe Neville visits them with his grandmother during the holidays. They do not recognize him. Because they make it a point to show that Neville lives with his grandmother and not his parents.
Yeah.
But, okay, yeah, here's a Reddit post. 3 years ago, I thought Neville's parents were dead. Maybe I missed it in the films, but I always thought Neville's parents were tortured and then killed by Bellatrix. Only now just reading the books, one of the parts I'm most upset they left out of the movies. The whole time at St. Mungo was really interesting to me. Okay, so it sounds like they just cut out this hospital thing entirely and they have him die?
Yeah, so in the books, I guess it'd be more clear that, no, Crucio, as far as I know, does not kill you.
Okay. Well...
But the reason why he was upset about the spider is totally because of that.
Okay, in that case, I owe my girlfriend a long I told you so, because if they're not actually dead, either she was withholding information from me because we haven't seen Order of the Phoenix yet, or we're killed. I had to give her a phone call after that. I'm like, because we got into like a fucking heat. She called me a fucking smooth brain because I didn't pick up on that because I was like, but at this point, like, why do I give a shit about Neville Longbottom anyway?
I mean,
he hasn't really
Neville's
done much.
Cool.
I know
True.
He gets cool towards the end of the series, but at this point, all he's really done so far is get knocked out by Harry and Ron in the first movie, and then he does dick shit in Chamber of Secrets or Prisoner of Azkaban, but then he dances with a girl in
he dances with Ginny.
Yeah, he dances with Ginny in this movie, and then also gives Harry the gillweed.
Wait, he gives Harry the gillyweed?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, because okay, so in the book, it's Dobby that gives him the gillyweed.
What?
Yeah.
We got cucked out of Dobby?
Well, if you hear the rationale behind it, it makes a little more sense. They cut out the whole Hogwarts having slaves subplot from the movies, who Dobby is one of, and that's
But he
why
gets
he is
freed
here to
by
give
the
him the
end of that
gillyweed.
movie.
And he decides to. Well, okay, he's not a slave. He's a paid worker at Hogwarts for a pittance, and it's actually a point they make that he refuses to accept more than the bare minimum pay, because they're now retconning that house elves actually like being slaves. It's stupid. That's why the movies cut it out.
Oh my god, we got cucked out of a rare Dobby appearance. Fuck this movie. I was so excited for him to be a recurring character, but no.
Nah, he's kind of recurring in the books, just not in the movies, I guess.
He was one of the best parts of Chamber of Secrets.
Yeah, so
that made me sad.
So that's all I have to say about Goblet of Fire. Wow, we spent a long time.
Wow, that's we talked
talking
about it
about
for
it.
nearly an hour. Damn, why haven't we made a Harry Potter series in Castaway anime?
True. Famous anime the world round, Harry Potter, also comes in a light novel series.
Well, more like a novel series. Definitely not light.
We're more like a heavy novel series, ayo.
So, yeah, 6 out of 10 movie. It's mid. It's aight. Then I saw 2 Ghibli movies, back to back, one day after the other. I'll talk about The Cat Returns first because it's the lesser of the 2 movies, and I can talk about it in literally less than 5 minutes. I know you haven't seen them before, but Cat
right.
Returns is basically just a comedy, with it's charming. It's got that classic Ghibli charm. It lacks stakes and emotional beats, but it is so definitely the funniest Ghibli movie I've seen. It's got some laugh out loud moments.
Yep, not much to say.
Yeah,
It's gonna be you soloing.
Also, the girl
this. I
wants
have
to.
No notes.
Also, it's heavily implied that the girl is in love with the cat by the end and wants to bang that cat.
based.
So yeah, this is Shane Dawson's favorite movie. Then I watched Whisper of the Heart, and I don't know how much of the glazing you saw that I gave it on both Twitter, Letterboxd, My Anime List, and in your own server. But
I saw only the stuff in my own server. Don't spoil anything. Keep it as brief as possible because I want to see it. I want to see it.
Here's a big tip for you. Don't watch this movie until you finish the Nyan Neko Sugar Girls video, and then once you're done with it, reward yourself by watching the movie, and then you will. All I'll say is that everything that you all the struggles that you felt with not just that video, but every video you've ever made will feel like it's been worth it.
Awesome. All I know is that it's about art in some way. I literally know nothing about this movie. That's probably the best way to experience it.
It is I knew what it was about going into it, but I didn't realize just how closely it hit to home. So now having seen it's now, I gave it a 10 out of 10, and which is I have not given a movie a 10 since Across the Spider-Verse last year. And you know me, I'm a bit of an uptight son of a bitch. I rarely give out. I don't be handing out 10 out of 10s. I rarely be handing out 9 out of 10s. Of everything that I've seen this year, the 50 plus things I've put on my media list, it is the only thing I've given a 10 out of 10 to. Literally the only other thing on my whole list I've seen all year, or the things plural that I would be as that I gave even a 9 out of 10 to is Ava plus End of Evangelion, then Silent Voice, and I'm pretty sure that's it.
Look, all I'm gonna say is that when the Nyan Neko Sugar Girls video comes out, it will be the next 10 out of 10 on your media list. It'll be so good you have to put it on your media list.
We'll see. It also would be
It
very
probably
funny
won't
if
be that
as
good,
soon as you
but-
upload it, I just open up OBS, screen record my PC, go to YouTube homepage on my subscription feed, see that Crunchybagels has uploaded the 2-hour Nyan Neko Sugar Girls documentary. Click on the little 3 dots, hit hide, refresh.
True.
Yeah, but viewers, watch Whisper of the Heart is all I'll say. It's in my top 10 movies of all time now.
I will do so in due time.
Yeah, and with
So-
that's everything that we've been up to recently. Yeah, and now we we talked about anime for about a couple minutes, an hour and a half into this anime podcast. Are we good
True,
enough now?
yeah.
r/anime, does this count to get our podcast on the server on the subreddit?
Look, it's 1% about anime. That's enough percent.
Also, now it has started to rain on my end, so if you hear rain, there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah, it'll be fine. We can press on.
So now we move on to the news, and it's been since there's only a week turnaround, not much to go on in the world of news. In fact, there's been like no anime news. It's really only been gaming news. How I know you're not much of a gamer, Mr. Bagels, but how familiar are you with the Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon games?
I've seen reviews of them, but have not played them.
All right, so I've only played a little bit of the first Crash Bandicoot. I've got the Insane trilogy as well as the Reignited trilogy. I have 100%ed all of the Reignited trilogy of the Spyro games. They're decent. I like the first one the best, and then each one gets a little worse afterwards. Then Crash. I've never been big on the Crash games. I didn't hate what I played of the first like world of Crash Bandicoot 1, but it felt like the linear hallway gameplay with the difficulty and the backtracking in certain levels kind of made me turn off from it. I'll maybe go back to one of these days, but
Skill issue.
yeah, I'm sure they're getting roasted by the comments right now. So as you know, Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon are in hell, essentially. They're in publishing rights holding hell, because the original 3 games of Crash and Spyro were developed by Naughty Dog and Insomniac respectively, who those games put them on the map, and then they would go on to be 2 of the biggest game developers for not just Sony but for like the entire industry. Naughty Dog more so than Insomniac, even though I like Insomniac games more than Naughty Dog, if only because I have a massive Ratchet and Clank bias and also the Spider-Man game Slap. So the rights to Crash and Spyro were owned by Universal. So they sold the rights to Activision. And so they companies who are not Naughty Dog and not Insomniac would make future Crash and Spyro games on like PS2 and PS3 and stuff. Then we get the Insane trilogy and the Reignited trilogy, as well as Crash Nitro Fueled on the PS4 generation with Toys for Bob and Vicarious Visions. So then you know about Crash 4, It's About Time, right?
No.
Oh, you never heard of that game?
No.
Okay, well, a few years ago. How long ago was this game? I don't think it was like that.
I will say
old.
It's About Time as a subtitle goes hard.
Yeah. Okay, this game was came out in 2020.
Because I assume it's
So-
about time travel, right?
Yes. And also, it's the 4th, even though it's not actually the 4th Crash Bandicoot game, but like they just call it Crash 4, to make it a direct sequel to Crash 3 from the PS1, and then have it be like, it's about time Crash Bandicoot's like back. That game was essentially the first mainline Crash entry in so long, and it was developed by Toys for Bob, and it's a notorious nightmare to 100%, but just as a game to play, just to beat, it's pretty fun. It sold 5 million copies, so it was pretty successful. But that was apparently not good enough for Activision, because after that, Toys for Bob got shut down and axed by Activision. Also because they were forced to make a Crash MOBA, which is the dumbest idea you could probably do with Crash Bandicoot. Because what about Crash screams, "Ooh, we should make a League of Legends but with Crash Bandicoot." That's what the people want. So that predictably flopped. And so they also, it wasn't even a free to play game. You had to buy it. And the idea of buying a MOBA is like, you should be fired for even suggesting the idea of a MOBA that you have to pay for. So that game did horribly. Activision said, "Bye-bye, Toys for Bob. You are no longer of use to us," even though fucking Crash 4 sold 5 million copies. So Toys for Bob got axed, and then it came out recently from, I believe, former Toys for Bob employees while they were with Activision, came out and said, "We were working on making a Crash Bandicoot 5, and it was going to be a crossover game with Spyro the Dragon." So it'd either be like you would play, I don't know if you'd play as like normal Crash levels at one point, and then you would switch over to like a Spyro the Dragon style of gameplay, or if you would just like use Spyro for like a specific mechanic or something. All I know is that like it was planned, it was concept art released, but they said no, and as you know, I care more about Spyro than Crash, and since the Reignited trilogy, the most they've done with Spyro is just put him in Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled as a playable character. But aside from that, it's been basically radio silent since 2018. And so we've gone 6 years without Spyro stuff. And yeah, this hurts. Like, this is yet another notch in the fuck Activision belt.
Boy, do I love copyright.
Yeah, literally, like, they're not even doing anything with the IP. Literally just sell it off. Like, you're telling me Sony wouldn't buy back the IP in a heartbeat? They like, the only reason they're hanging on to it, it's literally the bit from Smiling Friends. It's my IP. I'll choose how to sit on it.
Yeah, it's a sad state of the industry.
Like,
oftentimes.
Because they think like, hey, if we hold on to it long enough, we can like then pull it out of our closet, our toy chest, and be like, hey, now we can use it for something that's not even guaranteed to be good. Whereas I guarantee you, if Sony were like, hey, here's fucking, I don't know, I'm saying numbers, $500 million for the rights to Spyro the Dragon, and then they take that. They go knock on Insomniac's door and be like, hey, how would you guys like to make another Spyro the Dragon game? You think they wouldn't be thrilled?
Look, Nyan, think of the CEOs. Think about them and their 6th yacht, because that's too few. We need to hold on to this IP so that they can eventually sell it for more and get a 7th. Come on, you're right.
How
don't
could I
you
be
want
so
him
selfish?
to get a 7th yacht?
If you can hear that thunder and lightning crackling in the background, that represents the fury that I have towards Activision.
It's poetry.
Yeah. So, but then we move on from presumably the slow, continuous death of one video game mascot to the revival of another one. Where are my Croc addicts at? Where are my Croc heads? Croc is fucking back.
I want Croc to give me head. Is this character a minor? I don't know who they are. Maybe I'll get canceled for that.
They do look pretty child-coded. It's just a crocodile, an anthropomorphic crocodile with a backpack. But
look, it was a bit. Disavow what I said 5 seconds ago.
Yeah, so out of nowhere, this news just broke today. On August 28th when we're recording this. Croc, Legend of the Gobos from the PS1 era of where everyone was trying to make their own Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon, their own like 3D platformer mascot. Argonaut Games, the old developer who has been pretty dormant since then, they're back apparently. Out of nowhere, they're just like, you thought it was dead, you thought it was over. Well, too bad, I'm alive. And they said they're going to be bringing back a slate of new exciting titles and remasters for their old games. The first of which being Croc for consoles and PC, and say that they're going to bring back a bunch of IPs. Two things about this stick out to me. They say exciting new titles planned for both current and retro game platforms. So that makes me think two things. One, that they're probably testing the waters of doing remasters first, because that'd be easier instead of just because as insane as we would be like, hey, I don't know how many Croc games there are. I think there's 3 of them, but like Croc 4 is coming soon. Like that would appeal to a very small niche, but that would be hilarious to think about, that Croc is back and getting a new game before F-Zero, or even Star Fox. But then for retro game platforms as well, because like why would you say that? Are you gonna pull like a limited run games, or like, you know, sometimes when they'll be like the game developers will be like, hey, we're gonna make this game that's suited for this aesthetic or this graphical fidelity or engine for this old game, and we're gonna make it playable on that old game, like how best example I can think of right now, WayForward, who developed the Shantae games. They're revitalizing a canceled GBA game that was supposed to be like Shantae 2, the real Shantae 2. And they're bringing it back and selling it this year. And they're one of the items on limited run games, which I pre-ordered, was a real physical copy on a GBA cartridge. It's because they don't officially make GBA cartridges anymore. It's technically a repro, but it's still like a game that can run and play on a Game Boy Advance. So in the current year, which is very cool. So that makes me think that are they going to do that for old games? Like, are they going to make a Dreamcast version of Croc 4?
You know, you just unlocked a memory of mine I had a while ago, where I played Celeste on the GBA at a party because someone had just brought it. It was really cool.
Yeah, dude, playing like the original retro games on their original systems, I think it's better than emulation. Like emulation's more convenient, but like you don't get the same feeling. Like you miss out on a certain game feel. Like, yeah, I could play nice. Mario 64 on my Switch or in like Wii Virtual Console, but okay, I don't know, man. Really something about plugging in that cartridge. What?
I can really hear the thunder now.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's nothing I can do about that. This is currently Florida summer weather. Nothing to be done.
Florida moment.
Yeah, too bad, so sad. You're gonna have to hear my divine wrath when it comes to Activision. So yeah, just the idea of like plugging in the cartridge into my N64, flipping on the Switch, and holding that 3-pronged N64 controller. You know, the feeling can't be beat.
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's cool, but I also have no attachment to this IP, so I probably won't play it.
The only game that I've played, I haven't played the Croc games either. I just think it's cool that now if I'll be able to play them in HD resolution on modern systems. As for like remasters, but then there was a tweet that we saw, the one that I showed you, that talked about the Argonauts games library, and how one of them was a game that I do own, and I played a little bit of it. I never beaten it. I own it physically on N64, and there is a non-zero chance now that we can get the long-awaited return of motherfucking Buck Bumble.
What's that I hear in the distance? Oh my god, is that...
What about now? It's time to rock with the Bumble.
Oh my god, he's here!
Oh my god, Buck Bumble is here. There he is, right now, on screen. Oh, he's doing a little dance. He's driving to the music. Oh, I'm gonna have to give myself so much work editing this.
I've just created, like, way more editing for you. Get fucked, Nyan.
I'm probably just like keyframe, like jumping back and forth.
Sure, that works.
Yeah, I probably should timestamp it. But yeah, the idea that we live in a world where Buck Bumble has a non-zero chance of gracing modern systems it fills me with so much joy. Especially, oh my god, a remastered, remixed version of the Bumble theme song.
That heaven to the ears.
A new meme lord will be born.
That will be everywhere if it happens. Holy shit. There will be no escaping it. There's no way that doesn't go viral. It's a new Bumble theme. Come on.
Breaking news. Oshi no Ko Season 2 Episode 10 has been delayed to September 11th due to unknown reasons. Probably production issues.
Yeah. I mean, it always is. It do be like that. So anime... I guess it's just another classic tale of anime is anime.
I figured
do what it do.
I figured that this Oshi no Ko Season 2 looked too good for its own good. There had to be some kind of catch to it.
I mean, what gave me that impression from the beginning was just that it's literally a year after season 1. Like a little more than a year. But that's not a healthy anime production cycle by any stretch.
Yeah, it's so on September 4th, next week, there will be a recap episode where they do interviews with some of the voice actors. And then the week after, we'll get episode 10 of the season / episode 21 of the entire show. So I guess that might throw a big damper into the schedule, because we were supposed to be done with Oshi no Ko by the 23rd of September, but now that the whole thing's been delayed, we're gonna have to replace Oshi no Ko with something, I think. Also, there's an Oshi no Ko 2.5 stage play getting adapted into a real-life stage play.
Holy shit. That's actually peak.
Art imitating life, imitating art.
That's actually a really cool idea.
Yeah, I need to see a live action Kana, and I need to see it does look pretty cool. Let me show you the poster real quick. In the Discord, it's on screen right now, of course.
Open it up just to see the full. Yeah, I mean, I know who each character from the show is, so they're doing a good enough job. Oh, yeah, they look really similar to the actual characters.
Yeah, it's always that weird uncanny valley thing where like anime characters look like anime characters, but people who trying to emulate the look of anime characters look like they don't belong, like they're weirdos.
Yeah.
Like they're just a collection of dyed-haired individuals.
I mean, Kana's rocking it.
I guess she looks like a Scott Pilgrim character.
Yeah, now that you say
it. She looks like she could be like a... She looks like she's a cross between Ramona Flowers and Knives Chow.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah, well, so that brings us to the end of our news. Very short, only 15 minutes of news. So now it's time to talk about today's featured presentation, which is not anime.
Okay, which of the two are we covering first? How about that?
Let's talk about My Adventures of Superman first, so we can get it off the table. We were finally done with season 2. Unfortunately, we could not get Syzygy back on for this. We buried him too deep at the end of the last episode. He suffocated. He's dead. We're trying to get him resuscitated for whenever season 3 comes out, but until then, he was not, unfortunately, not able to make it.
Look, how am I supposed to talk about Superman when I don't have the Marvel super fan just blabbing on in my ears about all the lore that I missed out on? How is it even possible?
Crunchy Superman is DC.
I don't care. Marvel and DC are the same thing to me. I ran out of breath like halfway through that whisper.
You just pissed off so many fucking superhero fans watching this.
Bro, they're pissed off by my existence. I don't know anything about superheroes. But, except for what is in My Adventures with Superman.
You thought we were alone, just like you. But we have...
And we'll always have... each other!
However, I might unpiss them off. Because you know what? It's better than season 1. Still not good, but I mean, it's better than season 1.
There it is. I gave season 1 a 5 out of 10 last year, right?
Same. Yeah, we both gave it the same score. I personally, like, with time, I have solidified that into a light 5 out of 10, just based on not caring about anything in it. This one is maybe a light 6?
I'm definitely, it's no lower than a 6, but no higher than a 7.
The thing that just breaks me about this show is that okay, so these final few episodes have things that are theoretically cool, and with better execution would have me going crazy, frothing at the mouth, right? There are some conceptually neat ideas, but the overall investment in the story, it feels like it's too little, too late, almost. Where I've spent so long uninvested in the characters, and now I'm finally I'm finally getting into a bit of a groove. But there's still that part of me that's like, well, it's not really that. I'm not really that invested though. I just like Kara, and now I'm beginning to. I even had a moment where I almost bought into Clark and Lois's relationship as something I was invested in. That's crazy.
My god.
All
they had to do was just make it an anime moment.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. Because then you think about, well, why are they having this moment? Oh, it's because of another anime moment, an anime misunderstanding. Wow! And they almost make it work. Because there are a few themes being spat around in this block of episodes, and one of them is the idea that both Clark and Lois have the same character flaw of always believing that, because, Clark has spent so long, being so different from everyone else and harboring the secret within him, he, always thinks like, oh, people secretly hate me. Lois didn't get much affection from her dad when she was a kid, and now she's always afraid of people leaving her just like her dad. And they have to come to terms with this issue. But the way it's set up is kind of frustrating when you hear Clark misunderstand the most obvious compliment ever. He's just like, man, my Kryptonian autism got in the way of me understanding this. I'm just gonna sit on a building.
Kryptonian autism.
Look, all I'm saying is that Kara is extremely sensitive to loud noises and crowds. That's all I'm gonna say.
You're not wrong.
And when you remember that, you're just like, well, okay. Conceptually, you've got me hooked. Execution-wise, it's a little...
I agree with you on that point. I think the setup has been pretty mostly bad, but like the steps getting to where we have gotten to these last 4 episodes have been like pretty shaky and not well put together. But as far as like the execution of these last 4 episodes, I think they've been, for the most part, pretty good. Like I definitely, I don't like the steps that we had to take to get here, but I like where we're at.
These are the best episodes of the show so far. But even they have issues. Like, okay, there's some issues that have been a thing for a long time, but now it's in these episodes that I'm like realizing how to articulate them. Like, for example, for a long time I've said like so much of the show has so little impact. And I've realized another part of why this is, where it's not even just my investment in the characters, because those are going up. Like, I'm finally beginning to buy into the characters. Kara immediately, the other ones, they're getting there. I'm kind of beginning to turn around on Clark. Lois, we've got some good relationship moments now. I can maybe forgive her for how much she pissed me off in season 1. Maybe someday. But this show, a lot of the directing is so flat. And the weird thing is this has some of its best moments. But a lot of the, like, for example, in episode 7, there's the kryptonite robots with the green lasers. And they're, like, firing at the ship. completely ineffectually. And I know they can't, like, destroy the ship or anything, obviously. We need that ship to stay around. But, like, it feels like it has no impact, and, like, a lot of the tension is sucked away. So it's less like, oh, get this ship out of the way as soon as possible because there's kryptonite robots here. It's more like, I mean, doesn't seem to be doing much to this ship. We'll probably be fine.
Yeah, the show is pretty guilty of inflating the tension artificially by saying like, oh yeah, there are dangerous things that appear to be happening, but because we're working under stormtrooper aim logic, where it's like the scene is made more intense because there's a firefight going on in the background.
Bro, like in episode
then nothing
10,
of consequence
when
actually happens.
all the old villains come together and they start taking down the kryptonite robots, and then all of a sudden they cannot hit for shit. It's just an entire storm of lasers raining down, and like the Livewire's girlfriend gets hit, and that's about it. Otherwise, they have the worst, like you said, stormtrooper aim. It's kind of funny the more you think about it.
Yeah, by the way, I'm gonna be really pissed if we go back to fighting all of these villains at the end, like in season 3, when they clearly could be shown to be rehabilitated and fight on the same page.
Yeah, I mean, they can't go back on that. Even the ending was like, these stakes made some people better, some people worse. These are the people that are better, and then we're gonna be fighting, Lex Luthor in the next season more, I assume, because
they could just
show him on screen.
If they're willing to pull villains from like the D list of Superman villains, then they could definitely get more of the they can continue to do so and give themselves villains for like the rest of the show, like Atomic Skull, the Muscle Dude, and just make like those 3 guys that we didn't see all season but were in season 1, like with the sister who could scream, and the big dude and the invisible dude. Like, they should be good guys now. Livewire and Heatwave should be good guys now.
Yeah, although it is, I will admit, it is kind of funny to think about, like, it's almost like an and then everyone clapped moment where it's like, and then Livewire is good, and then Heatwave, who, I mean, I guess we never really saw her before, so that's fine, and then all the villains are good. Like, it makes sense, but it is kind of
we saw Heatwave
clapped.
in season 1.
We did? I completely forgot about that.
That was the episode where Lois handcuffed herself to Superman to try to see what was going on. Then they fought the girl who was stuck in that machine that they gave her the fire powers. She was only there for the one episode, so I don't blame you for forgetting her.
All right. So I guess she was a thing before.
I don't remember if she was in the like that thing at the end where in season 1 where they fought all of those the villains again.
I don't know. The villains in this show really blends together as someone who has zero context for any of them. So
yeah, you only remember Heatwave now because she's gay.
True. I saw her.
You did pop off when they kissed.
Yeah, of course. All you need to do to get me to remember something forever is just have there be lesbians.
True. Everything is better with lesbians. That's a certified fact. Yeah. So I hope they there's a lot more villains they can pull from. I know. And if you want, you can even have this, like, you could set this up to be like a mini Justice League. Like, this could be. That'd be an interesting twist on the Justice League. Instead of starting with like the big 3, Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman, you can start with Superman, fucking Livewire, Heatwave, Steel. That'd be cool. A Justice League of the D-listers and Superman.
That would probably feed some DC fans. I don't know who any of them are, so to me it'll just be a bunch of random people.
But yeah, as far as the content of these last 4 episodes go, this second half of this season has been exponentially better than the first half.
It's been exponentially better than every other part of the show.
As soon as Supergirl shows up, like as soon as Kara is on screen, like I'm fucking tripping over my words. There's a noticeable difference. Like the energy is different.
Because when she shows up, the story gets good. There are things happening in the story that are actually interesting, that actually hold my attention at all. And the reason why is because Kara, I mean, first of all, she's just the most interesting character. What she has going on is so much better than what most other characters have going on for most of this show. Like, what does Clark have? I mean, obviously he gets the cool relationship moments with Lois and forgetting who he is. That ends up endearing me to Clark by the end. But you know, putting that aside, because that's a very last minute thing, what do we have? Misunderstandings about Lois. Everyone hates me. Bitch, I don't care.
Well, he's also
should
trying to
hate you.
fit in amongst humanity when he's an outside alien.
Yeah, but you know, compare that to what's going on with Kara. Kara, you know, she's been fucking brainwashed her entire life. She's been made to do horrible atrocities. She's in this extremely abusive relationship with her robot dad. Like, this is interesting. She has, you know, she thinks, oh, Clark's gone soft because of the humans. He's not Clark, he's Kal-El. You know, he come on, I need to save you, cousin. I don't know why I said brother.
You're going Hulk Hogan for a second there.
Yeah, so like that's way more interesting, and we get more emotional beats out of that. Oh, and also she's just the cutest character in the show. She's so
True.
When her hair got messed up when Clark threw the baseball, I was like, ring on finger, married.
I do remember that frame.
She's so cute though. Look at her.
She is very cute, and now she's even more your favorite because now she has a scar.
Bro, as soon as I feel like the only reason we had that bit with the kryptonite at the end, where I was frustrated the entire time because I was like, fly closer to the sun. Fly to the sun, goddammit.
Yeah, that did kind of suck all the tension out of that.
You just went to the sun. You just saw it heal, and then you don't go back. She could be dying. But I feel like the most of why that happened was just to give her the scar. And you know what? In service of that, it was worth it. It was worth it just to make the cutest character in the show even cuter. Bro, you can't. You
heard it here first, ladies. If you wanna, scars do make you look beautiful. So go get yourselves maimed immediately.
Yeah, just look, sing "Modify" by Lemon Demon as if it's your wake up song. You wake up to that every morning. But nah, and I know Nyan didn't get that, but sometimes I say things only for myself to get.
I mean, there is also a song, I forget who sings it, but it's like the scars make you beautiful, the scars make you beautiful.
That one.
Yeah.
That song was everywhere for a bit. I forget who sang it too.
I don't know. I want to say, fucking hang on. It's gonna bother me now that I've brought it up. Scars mean you're beautiful.
I know I've heard that person sing before, like a bunch of different songs.
Who the fuck is Alicia Cara?
Kara?
Hey, what do you know? It's all comes together.
But yeah, like, we even have some conceptually interesting things. Like, okay, in episode 9, we get the time loop simulation shenanigans with Lois we're going back in time to get Kal-El off the menu. And she's like, hey, you know, come on, you're Clark, I'm Lois, we're together, to eventually, you know, get his mind to a point where he can snap out of it. And that was effective. I enjoyed that. We get the moment of them literally breaking the ceiling of the simulation. And I also like the explanation, which is that Lois in Clark's mind is, you know, has superpowers because she's just so, you know, to Clark, she is everything. And she's like so cool to him.
Yeah,
And
she is
so-
the strongest person he knows.
Exactly. And I liked that a lot. That was effective pathos. I also liked when Jimmy said to Kara, "I've done Hopeless before, and we've came out on top." And all I could think was kid named Hopeless.
Yeah, I noticed you were very delirious watching these episodes, because when you got to the part where Perry and Vicky were stopped Amanda Waller with the news truck so they could save Jimmy and Lois. They had their arms folded out there ready for them, like a couple of in defense of pedophilia YouTube avatars. And you just tweeted that I've been laughing at this uncontrollably for minutes now.
I literally no. What's even funnier is that I paused it and like kept replaying the moment where he's like panning into view because he looks like a PNG. He looks like a PNG put into this world, and so it's just PNG of guy crossing his arms, just with a stern expression, not moving at all, and they like have the parallax
Actually,
going
arresting
in the
a journalist
background.
is against the Fourth Amendment.
They literally did pull an actually, but then I unpaused it because I thought they were going to cut away from it or whatever, and that he would like break the pose. And then he just keeps the pose for like multiple cuts after, and I couldn't stop laughing. It doesn't end. He just sits. He's just standing there.
Yeah, I definitely. Kara is the best character, and then Brainiac is a pretty good villain.
A lot of the shots they give Brainiac near the end, I noticed, were really like a lot more menacing than, and it had a lot more flair in the directing, I guess, in the shot composition than you'd expect. Like him turning his head, or them capturing some of the depth of him like craning towards the character in certain shots. I enjoyed that. And yeah, like I got surprisingly invested in Brainiac as a villain. More than I expected to.
Yeah, I love the reveal that he was the reason that Krypton was destroyed, because he was like supposed to be their wartime AI to help like further their warrior military empire. But then when Krypton was losing a fight to a superior planet, Jor-El was gonna be like, "Hey, let's talk peace. Let's start a ceasefire. Let's stop all this war fighting, because I think if we keep this up, we're gonna get fucked up, and that's not gonna be good for anyone. So why don't we just cut it out? You know, why don't we just knock that whole thing off? Why don't we just Michael Jackson reaching over to the guy with the assault rifle and point the gun muzzle down?" As a war AI, Brainiac was not having that, so it was like, okay, how about fuck you? I'm going to nuke Krypton, and clearly Krypton's going soft. So, and my programming is to further the Kryptonian Empire the way that I'm programmed to know it. So, this Krypton is inefficient and obsolete. So I will destroy it and build a new, better Krypton.
Yeah, that was effective. There's just a lot of decent stuff going on in this block of episodes. It's a shame that everything up to this point wasn't that good.
I do wish that the entire season could have maintained this whole quality. Maybe if this whole season was an arc of the fucking Supergirl and Brainiac story. I guess they were able to intertwine the distrust of Superman with the whole Lex Luthor thing and Lois's dad. I feel like they could have done a better job at intertwining it. Maybe like give us a better idea of like the encroachment of Supergirl and Brainiac.
Honestly, I feel like just having 10 episodes to this arc would have made it like a legitimately good to great season. Like, because this is the good stuff. Everything good about the show to me is in these episodes. Although, that wouldn't fix some of the core issues. And another one of those issues that this show is just kind of on the nose about everything.
Oh
Just-
yeah, like the
It's
most subtle that it's
very-
the only time I remember it being very subtle is what is once again based Kara. I don't think they ever outright state that Brainiac like made her kill all those people, but they just leave it up to your like you figure it out through the hieroglyphs and like her visions.
I think they state it pretty explicitly. I think
I
think
know
Kara
that they
literally
made
says,
mind dominate, but I don't know about like all the people that she like explicitly that she has like so much blood on her hands and how fucked up that is.
Oh. Yeah, I mean they don't directly call out the people died. It's more so just you made me destroy those planets, which is kind of the same thing. So, I mean I guess it's cool that it leaves it up to your interpretation just how much blood she has on her hands, but everything else in this show is like, Lois saying like, "Oh, love is not for cowards." It's a cool line. It really is a cool line. I could imagine this being written in a book as like an emotional punctuation mark to an entire arc. But just the way this show presents it just feels so flat and like, this is the point. We are telling you the point. Lois saying out loud when she sees Kara, "That's Jimmy's evil, malicious, kidnapping," and then Jimmy cuts her off, and I'm like, you could have just had her make a face. I would have imagined her thinking that. You just had her make a face, and then Jimmy says, "Hey, Kara, what's up?" Then she makes like another face as the conversation continues. You could have made this subtle. I have a bunch of lines quoted of just the show being really hammy. Kara saying, "I've always been a warrior for the Empire. What else is there?" Bitch, we know. We know. You literally didn't have to say that. I already knew everything in that sentence before you said it. I knew that was your struggle. You did not have to say it.
Brainiac's got some banger lines though. I think my favorite line throughout the entire show is I didn't write it down, but it was something like I will take like the Krypton. I was the one who like took Krypton from the heavens and cast it into hell.
Oh
that
yeah,
goes
that was great.
hard.
Especially because this show, it's Adult Swim, but you don't feel it at all. And so hearing hell kind of like caught me off guard, and I was like, oh yeah, this is on Adult Swim.
I'm not saying I need a Rick and Morty violence level of Superman, but if you're gonna make an Adult Swim show, like it can be a little more mature in its content matter.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind a little more blood. I wouldn't mind like some like mild swearing. And I'm not saying this to be like, oh no, it's gotta be gritty, it's gotta be edgy. I'm just saying, like, why not just make it a Cartoon Network show then? Like, when being placed on Adult Swim gives it a certain expectation. Forgive me for expecting the show to be a little more like have a more adult content matter on a network literally called Adult Swim.
I mean, Gumball literally got away with saying eternal damnation. I mean, come on. You could have pushed the envelope a little more.
Remember the original run of regular show where they said pissed and screwed?
You've
but then
pissed me off.
Yeah, like, oh, we're so screwed. But then later broadcasts of it had to be changed to "you ticked me off and we're dead."
Yeah. I mean, I didn't even know it was originally piss until way later on, because the version that, I got into regular show with was the "you ticked me off." And I was like, oh, they did do that. Bruh, parents are lame.
Yeah. I'm just saying that one part in Total Drama Island where Heather's top gets torn off by that tree branch. Yeah, that it awakens something in all of us, I feel.
God, this is completely unrelated. Total Drama Island feels like a fever dream from my deep repressed memories as a child.
It'll feel like
That
more
show was
repressed fever
insane.
dream when you watch the baby Total Drama show that they made.
Oh god, they did make that.
What was it? Total Drama Orama or something?
Yeah, Total Drama Rama, I think.
Oh god, man, why are we still making show but babies in current year?
Well, you've lost me on that one. But yeah. Back to Maz.
Let's see, what was another. I do also like the moment where when Brainiac takes over Superman's body, and first of all, that design just kind of goes insane. I love the spiked up hair with the red eyes and the black suit with like the weird headgear.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote in my notes, if they recognize Superman in this, but don't recognize Clark Kent if he takes off his glasses, I swear to God.
I also like how he even recognizes the faults in his own programming, because even he still harbors some feelings for Kara. But then it's like, but those feelings must be purged no matter how much I hesitate.
I liked Kara getting in the way of the laser that was about to strike the city, but I also wish it went on longer. I think it would be a great moment of emotional, just...
If she was, like, holding it back instead of just, like, tanking the shot.
Or, like, what I was thinking was she gets shot, tanks it, and is like, that's, like, painful. But then another shot comes, and, in the actual show, Superman comes to save the day. But I wish it was like, no, we're waiting for Superman to come. She just gets shot multiple times, like to the point where she can barely stay. Yeah, that I wish it was like that.
That's the fucking shonen anime shit this show needs.
Yeah, I wish this show had better directing and was better at conveying its emotions effectively, because I feel like these episodes could be like a legitimately great show if it just did the good things and not the mess ups it does so often.
Yeah, I'm really torn. I don't know whether to give it a 6 or a 7.
I think over the course of talking about this, I've decided on 6. I'm pretty solid in that, because when I think about a 7 out of 10, I think about a show, I feel like a 7 out of 10 commands a certain level of, like, general writing quality, where it's not just that you had one good character, or one good aspect, or one good arc, unless that's the entire season or most of it. It's that you have a good show. And for most of this season, it has been that most of the characters are ones that I'm not invested in, ones that I don't like. And it's only near the very end where it's begun to rectify it. And so I can't overlook just how uninvested I was the vast majority of the season. And I think that makes it a 6 as opposed to a 7.
Yeah, I'm feeling more inclined to give it a 6. I thought about giving it a 7, but then I remembered I haven't seen season 2 of Invincible yet, and I feel like if I watched that, my opinion of My Adventures of Superman would be lowered. So I feel like giving it a 6 is fair.
Yep.
It has gone from not that good to mid.
And with that, yeah, can't wait for Maz season 3. For Syzygy to return once more and just lore dump on us about DC some more. I got it right this time. I wanted to say Marvel.
I'm more excited for season 3 than I was for season 2.
Oh, far more. Because I'll get to see my wife, Kara.
She's put her on the waifu list, but throw her into the harem.
Literally. Look, I don't know what you see in Lois. Kara.
I mean, Kara has supplanted Lois in my head too.
Let's go!
I made that apparent last episode.
You've seen the light.
I mean, I like design wise. If we're talking just the designs, I still like Lois's design more. But if we're talking overall characters, then yeah, Like she cleared her by the end of those episodes.
Oh, I'm not talking about
last block.
characterization. I'm talking about how cute they are. How much of cuties. How much
well, see,
they are my wife.
Well, see, Lois looks more cute in like the normal like official stills on like the official art of her, whereas like Supergirl, she can be made to look menacing, most like half the time. Whereas when you make her look cute, she's gonna look cute, but when you make her look menacing, she's gonna be menacing. You can't really make Lois look menacing.
Look, when Kara looks cute, everything fades away, and it is just me in this image. And all I can think of is Cupid has hit my heart with an arrow, and Kara is the one. How
Her
you
hair's
are to
not-
Lois,
her hair
I
is
am
not
to
even that
Kara.
long, Crunchy.
It's not all. Look, it's not about the length of your hair. It's about how you use it. And messy-haired Kara is my fucking wife. Never comb your bedhead.
All right, well, we'll see y'all for season 3 or whenever that comes out, presumably next year. We'll see. All right, now it's time to do something that we haven't done in what, like over a year at this point. How long ago was Castaway OVA?
I don't fucking remember.
Yeah, we're talking about a video game on Castaway Anime. And it's a very fitting one. Once it got announced, we were like, oh, we gotta play this as soon as it comes out. By Canari Games, Johan Vinay. It's Castaway, baby.
Let's hope we're not casting away the viewers by talking about video games.
No, everyone knows that the Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon video is the most popular video on the entire history of the podcast.
Sure, it's totally not borderline the least popular.
Definitely not the still sub 100 viewers to this day.
Is it literally our lowest viewed podcast? Because I wouldn't be surprised.
It's I think one of the Owl House ones is lower still. I can
those
check
did
really quick.
nothing. I'm checking right now. Popular. Oh god, I'll have to scroll down a long time.
Yeah, I mean we made a lot of episodes.
Okay, yeah, one win, lose, or draw is the lowest rated one, and after that, oh god, that was all the way back at Castaway Anime 27? Wow,
Yep.
that was way earlier on than I thought.
I mean, it's probably gonna be 2 years old soon.
Yeah, it does
I
not
think.
feel like that long ago.
Hey man, time flies. I'm looking at the Rust Eater Bisco one. This back when we didn't even reach double-digit episodes yet. That was episode 8. That was 2 years ago. Remember Rust Eater Bisco?
Oh god, it's been so long. The biscuit's gone stale.
Yeah, but now we're here talking about Castaway. It's a game that came out, and we saw the title, and we saw the trailer, and we were like, we're like contractually obligated to play this game.
I mean, yeah, literally, what else do you do at that point? And I'm someone who almost never plays video games, so this is the only way to actually get me to play one, basically.
Well, see, this is the perfect kind of video game for you, Crunchy, the kind that only takes half an hour to beat.
I mean, you say it's the perfect kind for me, and granted, at this point in time, yes. Like, with how much work I need to do, having a game that I can beat very quickly for the podcast is...
Bless you.
I'm allergic to this game, actually. I'm allergic to
Oh,
video
no.
games in general. Yeah, I mean, it's alright. I didn't mind it.
I mean, I definitely... At first, okay, my opinions on the game did a 180. So at first, I thought that we knew ahead of time that the game was going to be pretty short, because we were checking how long it was going to be to gauge how long it would take for us to play it for the podcast. Thankfully, it only turned out to be like a half-hour game. maybe like 40 minutes if you're struggling with the puzzles. So we played it, and when I beat it, I was like, my first impression was that this would be a really impressive game jam game.
What's game jam? I've heard of it, but I don't know what it is.
Okay, game jam is when you're given like you're given a time limit, and you're being told, like, usually it's like a day or 3 days, and they said, hey, make a video game.
Okay, that's what I thought it was. I was just making sure.
Yeah, they usually do it like they can like base it on themes, or like give it up premises, or like based on genre. But you're basically tasked with like make the best possible game you can in like this limited amount of time using these guidelines.
Yeah, for how short it is, I do see where you're coming from with that. Albeit it seems it has a bit more polish than what you'd probably expect in that short amount of time.
I mean, yeah, I would hope so for a game that I can beat in half an hour.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it controls real smoothly. So the main quote unquote part of the game is it's a Zelda clone. It's a very Link's Awakening inspired, even down to like the main island hub area that you explore is like almost 1-for-1 identical to what's the land in Link's Awakening called? What's that kingdom called?
You think I know?
I know you don't know games, but I thought you at least knew like the famous ones.
I mean,
the
I
Dream
couldn't tell you
World
what the kingdom
in Link's
is
Awakening.
called.
I forget what it was called. But yeah, it's like identical. So all of that, yeah, the whole game just looks like one big Link's Awakening homage. Like every area looks like it was ripped straight out of a 16-bit version of the game. Even the main player character kind of looks like a more 90s anime version of Breath of the Wild Link.
Yeah, it's definitely paying homage to that era. But it's also, like, when you say short, it is very short, and the world you explore, it's not even really a world, it's more like a small island, and it is tiny.
Yeah, I thought that the game was gonna be like twice as big, but you just be able to navigate it faster because you'd be able to implement shortcuts or maybe like teleporters. No, you can. This game is not many screens big. Like if you if you took a screenshot of like every screen of the game and you like compiled it into like a little collage to make your own map, it would not be that big.
Yeah, and what made me a bit disappointed was that every dungeon looks the same. Like it's using the same general palette.
Down.
I was like, come on, you could. I mean, the original Zelda. I've played some of the original Legend of Zelda, and that at least like changed the color palette.
Yeah,
come on.
I've definitely same thing as Link's Awakening, where the dungeons had similar layouts and like the way they were physically designed, but still had different color palettes to differentiate them. So that's one disappointing aspect of the game. You had trouble with the difficulty towards the end, you told me.
It was mostly just the final boss, because everything up to that point, I mean, let's see, total amount of times I died. I died once just exploring the overworld, because I as soon as I found out where I was actually supposed to go, I was like, oh, well, that was pretty obvious. But I was just, for some reason, I just couldn't figure it out for about, I don't know, like 10 minutes. And I was like, oh, wait, actually, that's how you get to the next dungeon. And while checking all the screens, I was just kind of rushing past enemies, and they weathered me down. So that happened. I think to the first boss, I died because I didn't realize that you could hit the little core it exposes, like, asymmetrically, like, diagonally through the, like, through its other parts. And so, as soon as I figured that out, I was like, oh, okay, well, it's really easy to beat. But So I died once to the first boss. I beat the second boss, like, first try. I think I only got hit by it once, because it's really easy. But the third boss is where it kind of got me. The third boss is he's spraying bullets all across the screen. And by the way, all the bosses look like basically the same.
Yeah, they're
a little different.
Okay, this was really weird though, because the whole point of the game is that you're a space traveler and your dog gets taken by pterodactyls, and all of your tools get taken by pterodactyls too. But you fight lizards. You fight like big green alligator lizard men and not pterodactyls.
The aesthetic of this game's design sense does not make a whole lot of sense to me. I could never...
Oh yeah, also the primary enemies you fight are spiders.
I think that's honestly one of the biggest problems with the game. Because if you're going to make a game this tiny, you really gotta get like a memorable aesthetic to it. You gotta give it something to make it stand out, and something that like makes that stick with you. And so by giving it a consistent aesthetic that's unique and memorable, it would hit you harder. And while the 16-bit graphics, those are a step in the right direction, but then the enemies, I just don't get what it's going for.
I mean, the spiders are very Zelda-like, like reminiscent of the Tektites. It's the... I just don't get why you have them be taken by pterodactyls, but then you fight lizards, and then I don't think we even see the pterodactyls in the main campaign again.
Yeah.
Now, granted, there is a whole second half to this game that doesn't unlock until you beat the main campaign, which only takes like 30 minutes to do. Hey guys, Future Nyan here. Quick update on Castaway. I have beaten the game entirely since the recording of this podcast. Beat the entire tower, all 50 floors of the roguelike mode, and the final boss of the game are the pterodactyls that take your dog at the start of the game. So, a quick addendum on that criticism of the different like bosses and enemies of the game not being completely thematically coherent and being a missed opportunity. It is a little weird that you fight spiders, weird cartoon lizard guys, and then the pterodactyls at the end. But it looks like the whole thing was kind of a bit of a non-issue in the end, because it's a very kind of a small piece of the game in the grand scheme of things. Anyways, back to the podcast. And it also kind of seems like this is the kind of game that, considering that there is a speed run function built into the game, that you can, I think, unlock after you beat it the first time. It does seem like one of those games that's like, it's become like a new subgenre of games where the point of it is not necessarily to play it like a traditional game and beat it, and to like get an experience with it. It looks like the main point of it is to master its controls, learn its secrets, and then try to speedrun it to get the best time you possibly can, which, if that's your bag, more power to you. I personally don't give a shit about speedrunning.
I mean, the controls are clearly built around speedrunning, because what I noticed is, like, you can chain together, like, let's say the grappling hook as an example of this, where if you hit the button as soon as it's done retracting, you immediately send it out, and it can be really satisfying to get like a chain of that going, where you're hitting it like as close to the first frame as possible, which gets you more hits on the boss. Or like with rolling, for example, your character can roll, but if you run into a wall, you get knocked back, and it's honestly kind of annoying.
Yeah, I figured it was like that because it would encourage you to, if you were speedrunning it, to be very careful with how you would use it, because it does make you go faster than just walking, but if you bump into something, it'll slow you down, so maybe it's like a risk-reward thing.
That, but also, you can also do the chaining thing, where as soon as you're done rolling, if you hit it, like, right, immediately after, you can get that, get another roll going, and maybe, by doing that quick enough, you can add another roll where maybe you wouldn't be able to if you were a bit late, and, stuff like that. And I did sort of feel the satisfaction, but at the same time, I was like, But when I hit the wall, it's like kind of an. I don't like hitting.
Yeah,
the
when
wall.
you're
It
playing the
feels-
game not to speedrun it, you're just playing it casually. Like I felt the same way. Every time I ran into a wall, I just felt like, like, why can't I just like roll into a wall and just like be stopped? Like I'll continue my roll animation, but I just don't make any forward progress. Like why do I gotta be knocked back?
I would be fine with just you roll and then you like roll in place, just like roll against the wall. Like, I don't. It's just
It messes with the game.
that little
feel.
thing. Well, that and also this one really got to me, which is if you hit an up arrow near a ledge, your character will jump off of it. Doesn't seem like an issue, right? Except that in the final boss specifically, in order to hit the boss, you need to face towards it, and it's surrounded by lava on all sides, and then use your grappling hook. However, in the process of trying to face the lava, more than once, I would hit the arrow and then my character would commit suicide and jump into the lava. And it's like, it's just before... Okay, my problem with it is that it seems like the point where your character decides to jump into the lava is just a few pixels before where the actual edge would be if he just continued walking. At least that's what it felt like a lot of the time to me. So it feels like I'd hit up and not expect to go off the ledge if I'm just thinking about where my character would be if I hit up, but then my character would jump and I'd be like, why? Or sometimes I'd nick the up arrow just barely while going another direction, like trying to switch my thumb over on the D-pad, and then I just jump and I'd be like, why? What the hell? What the hell, man? I didn't want to jump.
This sounds like an issue mainly on keyboard, because I played this on my Switch with a Pro Controller, and I did not have an issue falling off once. The only time I fell off during that boss fight was I was trying to replicate that glitch that you sent me. I turned on Jesus mode for a bit, and you accidentally walked on lava for a few seconds.
So I think I may have just broke the game. I am so bad that the game made me invincible to lava. So I just have to sit here and die. Wait. wait, hold on. Wait. Hold on, I can use this to my advantage. Probably, maybe. Wait, this is... No. And now it recognizes it. Oh god. Yeah, that... Put this in the video, by the way. I'm forcing you to put this in the video. Yeah, so I'm not sure exactly where you'll put the clip, but I'm forcing you to put it in this somewhere. It's it's so good. But I actually did manage to figure out how to replicate it. The boss needs to be turned at a very specific point where it's like nose is facing... Okay, so its nose has to be facing towards where you want to get flung off into the lava. And so when it's facing that direction, you'll hit the boss and... you have to jump into the boss and then you'll get knocked into the lava. However, all the lava on the edges of the land has the script where if you touch it, you respawn... Well, you take damage and then you respawn on the land. And so, you gotta be... It's very limited. But it's also very funny.
Yeah, the only time I felt I was trying to replicate the glitch to just see if it was consistent, but maybe I probably just did it wrong, or maybe you just did it so wrong that you did it right.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, aside from that, I didn't really run into any technical issues with the game. I will say, like, the behavior with the enemies, I don't like that they don't suffer knockback. At least not when you hit them with the sword, because especially with the black spiders that when you kill them they spawn the tiny spiders,
so
and then
much.
those should die in like one swing, right?
Yes.
Am I crazy for thinking that? They don't even suffer any knockback unless you hit them with the pickaxe.
I never got the hang of how to deal with those enemies. The only consistent strat I found was actually extremely boring and extremely situational, where you hit it twice with the pickaxe, it gets knocked back into the wall, and then you use a grappling hook to pick off all the little spiders from a distance. That is the only consistent method I found, and you can't even use it in all situations.
Like, there is a little knockback with the sword, but there are times, a bunch of times, where I was trying to just, like, I don't want to deal with these enemies anymore. They're just, like, because you don't really get anything from beating them, aside from just them being out of the way. But, like, at that point, I was just kind of, like, rushing to get to the next dungeon and trying to, like, it was more fun to kind of, like, maneuver around them than it was to fight them. So, but then when you, like, parts where you have to fight enemies, like, when you knock them away, there'll be times where, like, they've already started their charge animation, like, where they're gonna, like, crouch down a little, tense up, and then lunge at you. And, when they start that, you can't really stop it. So, when I would swing my sword, it would hit them, but then they'd jump into me and hit me anyway.
Well, the other issue is that the little spiders sometimes start their jumping animation at different times. So what you get is this, like, torrent of mini spiders. One jumps, the other jumps, the other jumps, the other jumps, and it's like, no, not as continuous as I just made it out to be, but you'll get pushed so far back if you're trying to avoid taking damage, because they die in 2 hits, and you can't, you can't get them all out at once, and they don't suffer knockback. And this gets real bad in one specific floor of the tower, where I think it's cheap. I think this one floor of the tower is legitimately...
So you
granted, I have
did
not
get to the
beaten
tower.
I did. I actually got to floor 26 of the tower this morning.
Hilariously enough, I think I got that far too. I definitely got to at least to floor 25, which is... I looked it up, there are 50 floors of the tower.
Yeah, I too looked it up. But this is... I couldn't tell you which floor this is. There's one floor where you have about 2 tiles of room. It's like a 2x2 bit of room when you enter. Something akin to that, I might be misremembering the exact dimension. And there's a bunch of rocks. And behind those rocks is a black spider and I think a shell spider. And so, but they're right next to the rock. And so what you do, I got to this room like twice. Because I died once later on and then got back to it. And so the first time I got completely swarmed because I got up to the rock, I hit it with a pickaxe, but then the enemies, these 2 enemies that take, a lot of hits to kill, immediately enter this tiny space you're in. They don't take knockback. It's way too tiny to reasonably and consistently avoid them, because sometimes they're, like, not quite... an enemy has to be fully on one tile, pretty much, for you to navigate around them in a one tile space. But if they're even slightly on the other tile, you will get hit. And it's these 2 beefy enemies in this tiny space, and I just continuously took damage. And eventually I just had to iframe my way to the other side. Now the next time, I thought, okay, what if I wait here? What if the enemies just, like, I don't know, they don't hone in on me that much, and they, like, I don't know, continue their walk cycle? No, they hone in on you. They are right up against the boulder. And the only way I found to escape that situation is to just cheese it with iframes, and then hit them in a bigger space. I legitimately don't know how you're expected to do that without getting hit. Maybe there's a way and I just don't know it, but it was like, just, that's such a dumb scenario to me. With the mechanics of this game as they are, why would you craft that?
Yeah, it is pretty frustrating. You mentioned the tower mode, and this is the meat of the game. This is like the real meat, because when you beat the game, the main campaign, you unlock the tower, and this is where the game did a 180 for me, and I was like, oh, I feel like I can play this game a little longer now. I only have tried it the one time, and I got to about halfway there. I think I got to like floor 25 or 26, and then I died. But now that I know how, like, what the meta of it is and how it works, I feel like I would definitely be able to get a lot farther. Maybe even beat it. My second try. I don't know how much of a god gamer I am. But then there's the roguelike aspect of it. And yeah, so there's basically a roguelike built into the Zelda game. So in the tower, there's 50 floors, and you are stripped of all of your the heart pickups that you may have gotten in your main playthrough. So you're down to just, I believe, 2 hearts, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So you're down to 2 hearts, and you're given your normal tools. Then you are going to fight enemies, but now when you fight enemies, they will drop coins, and when you kind of like Vampire Survivors or like one of these kinds of games, and you pick up enough of the currency, you level up, and then you can choose a perk to give to your character. Be like, your sword does more damage, you have more health, you have more defense, you get a little orbiting fireball around you. Your pickaxe or your grapple hook does more damage. That is what turned the game from a that was like cute, but I'll probably not think about it for very long too. Even right now, I'm kind of jonesing to jump back in to beat the tower.
I had a similar experience, except I'm not jonesing for it or anything. I thought it was significantly more fun, because this game's combat, it isn't, amazingly in-depth or anything, but, you do have 3 main options you use to pick off enemies, and that on its own makes it like a decent enough arsenal, plus you get the upgrades. The ones I found really useful are the defense upgrade and the fireball, because the fireball circling around you, you get basically so many hits with it before it disappears on each floor, but it can like parry, what those shooty enemies fire, and so it hits them back at them, which I found really useful. It damages any enemy in its vicinity, and you can stack them too. So if you get another fireball upgrade, all of a sudden you just have this force field around you. Sometimes, I will say, sometimes it is a little inconvenient to have when you're trying to hit an enemy with your like pickaxe or sword, and instead the fireballs get to him first. But I imagine if I just switched to, okay, grappling hook, and if anything approaches me, fireball, it would probably work out pretty well. And then the other one I found useful was the shield, because that gives you a free hit on each floor. And chances are, unless it's a really difficult floor, you're going to only take like 1 or 2 hits on each floor. And so by essentially having the damage that you take, if you're playing decently, that is, you can get way further than you would otherwise. I found that to be a real game changer when I discovered, like, oh, this is actually super useful.
Yeah, and with I also love how with the coins, now like they despawn if you don't pick them up fast enough. So it adds in another element of like risk and reward, because there are going to be a lot of times where you're going to slay an enemy, but then there's another enemy on your ass, or there's like a shooty enemy shooting those fireballs at you from a distance that you have to dodge or parry. But if you do that, you're taking time away from going to pick up the coins to make your character level up and get stronger. So it's like not only, you can't just like, mindlessly mow down the enemies. You have to strategically think about how you're going to kill them so you can maximize your profit and get all the coins before they disappear.
That I also loved about it. The tower is the way better way to play this game, in my opinion.
It almost makes me feel like what's even the point of having the 30-minute Link's Awakening, like, when you could have just made that the game.
Honestly, this with a like 100 floor tower would be a complete enough game on its own to just sell.
Yeah, for like $8 or $10, 100 floors, roguelike. You restart when you beat it, but like you learn all the controls and like how the meta works. That seems fair. Seems like a good time to me.
Feels like I'd be more tempted to play that game, honestly.
Apparently, I've not tried out the game. I've not replayed the game on the other difficulty modes. Like, there's an unfair mode where you looks like you only get
so unfun.
It's basically a one hit and you're dead mode.
That
also,
yeah, I would pull my hair out.
Also, because the game is so short, one hit and you're dead. You start the game from the beginning.
Yeah, I think I'll pass on that.
Yeah, I don't really like those types of game modes. Like, it's in Doom 2016, and I think it's even more infuriating then because that even then, like, it's not like a one hit and you're dead in Doom, but if you die in that difficulty mode, you have to start the game from the beginning. But that's like a multi-hour game. So imagine being like 3 hours into a game and then you die and you have to start from the beginning. Like that day wasted.
Yeah, that's like the challenge run you give yourself because you just are a masochist. That's a Game Champ 3000 video, not something I want to do in my free time.
Yeah, so overall, I hesitate to give a final score, if only because I have not beaten the tower, and that feels like the more meaty part of the game to me. So until I beat it, I don't want to like be confident in the score that I give it. I'll definitely have beaten it by the time we get to the next podcast, and I'll talk about it and give a more concrete score. But right now, I'd say it's hovering between like a 5 and a 6 out of 10. Maybe the tower could like boost it up to a 7 if it's like really good enough and I don't get bored of it.
I think I'm feeling more like a 5 for this one. At least so far. Granted, maybe the tower, because I was having a bit of fun with the tower. I liked it significantly more than the main game.
And
So
apparently the
maybe
tower
that could
also
raise
has
it up
its
to a
own
6.
unique final boss. So maybe the pterodactyls show up in that one. I've just been a big dum-dum this whole time.
Maybe it'll be the best boss fight ever, and it'll raise it to a 6, but I'm not sure if I'll play it again. Maybe. Well, let's see how my free time pans out when I have that.
Yeah, I'll definitely have beaten the in fact, even after this podcast, I'll probably boot up the game, beat the tower, and then I'll have it all my final opinion ready for the next podcast.
After this podcast, I'll be booting up the application that I've spent more time on than any game. Sony Vegas.
Alright. And with that, I think that we're just about done here now.
Yeah, considering we only had 2 things to talk about, it took way longer than expected.
Only because
to
we
be
ended
fair,
up talking about Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire for an hour.
Exactly. Harry Potter fans are eating good, the plenty of them in our audience.
Yeah, I could honestly, I could probably like cut out all of the Harry Potter talks and cut it into like a highlight reel for the second channel.
True, that could work actually. No, you know what? The Harry Potter supercut for Castaway anime, and it's like, I don't know, 5 hours long by the end.
Maybe, probably. I don't know. Would that work? Would that get views?
Probably not, but it'd be funny. You already have it timestamped, so why not?
Alright, well, it looks like this will do her for this episode of Castaway Anime. That's all we got for today. If you enjoyed the podcast, give us your thoughts on what we talked about down in the comments, and what you would like us to talk about in the future. If you would like to keep up with Castaway Anime and never miss an episode, make sure to subscribe to the channel here on YouTube, or follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to subscribe to Crunchy's channel, and check out all their socials linked down in the description below. That'll do her for this episode. I'm Nyan Manta.
And I'm Crunchybagels.
And you'll see us next time.